Chapter 1539. 1539 Suppressing all geniuses too. At the age of 35, he had the strength of a third-level void interpretation, breaking the record of an outstanding disciple of the Wuxia Empire. Wuxia City was made an exception to become the crown prince. In the entire Wuxia Empire, it was in the limelight, and was called Wuxia City by everyone in the vast region. The title of Wuxia Imperial City was made by him. After he broke through to rank 3 of the Void Interpretation Realm, he challenged all the rank 3 Void Interpretation Realm experts in the Wuxia Imperial City. He challenged more than 20 experts of the same rank, without a single defeat. So he was called the Wuxia Imperial City, Wuxia City. He was close to 50 years old now, and he wanted to break through to rank 4 of the Void Interpretation Realm before that, breaking the record of the entire vast region. Wuxia City walked toward the mansion, walking like a dragon and striding like a tiger. His body emitted the aura of an emperor. Even He Yuan's aura was quite different from Wu Qingcheng's. This must be the crown prince of Wu Qingcheng. Wang Xian looked at Wu Qingcheng and walked over with a smile on his face. He called out lightly, "Who are you?" Many pairs of eyes looked over. Before Wu Qingcheng could speak, the middle-aged man at the side stared at Wang Xian and shouted coldly, "I am Wang Xian, a radiant priest. I heard that the crown prince of Wu Qingcheng will be holding a banquet in 2 days. I wonder if the crown prince of Wu Qingcheng can send me another invitation letter." Wang Xian looked at Wuxia City and continued, "You want an invitation letter from me? Interesting. The invitation letter will only be sent to the heavens favorites of the major forces in the vast region. Those who are qualified will be invited." When Wuxia City saw a young man actually asking for an invitation letter from him in front of his mansion, a hint of interest appeared on his face as he said faintly, "What kind of qualifications do you need?" Wang Xian asked faintly, "I need influence and strength." Wu Qingcheng glanced at him before turning his head and continued walking forward. "If you have influence and strength, someone will send you an invitation letter." "Oh, your people might not be able to find me. It's better to give it to me now." Wang Xian looked at Wu Qingcheng walking towards his mansion and smiled. His figure moved and instantly appeared in front of Wu Qingcheng. Wu Qingcheng's pupils contracted slightly when he saw Wang Xian suddenly appearing in front of him. The middle-aged man beside him was also slightly shocked. Darkness surged around him. "I don't have any other intentions. I just want an invitation letter. If I get the black curtain heart fruit in the future, I'll give it to you then." Wang Xian stretched out his hand and said with a smile, "Kid." The middle-aged man was about to speak, but was stopped by Wu Qingcheng. He waved his hand. "Do you have the ability?" Wu Qingcheng stretched out his hand and patted Wang Xian's shoulder. Wang Xian didn't dodge and said with a smile, "I think I do." The arm that was patting his shoulder had obviously stiffened. Wu Qingcheng's eyes revealed a look of surprise, and his expression changed slightly. "Give this young master an invitation letter." Wu Qingcheng retracted his arm without batting an eyelid, and said to the middle-aged man at the side, "Yes." The middle-aged man at the side was slightly shocked. He immediately took out an invitation letter and handed it to Wang Xian. "Thank you." Wang Xian smiled and nodded at him. He took the invitation letter and walked towards Ling Jian'er. Before he left, he looked at the seat beside him and smiled. Wu Qingcheng turned around and watched as Wang Xian's figure gradually disappeared into the darkness. He slowly raised his arm. "Your Highness the Crown Prince, your palm." When the old man saw Wu Qingcheng's palm, he was slightly shocked and quickly exclaimed, "He is very strong, much stronger than me. Uncle Ming, did you see his strength clearly?" Wu Qingcheng stared at his palm in astonishment. Just now, he had placed his palm on the young man's body, wanting to test his strength. However, what he didn't expect was that the other party's light energy directly charged over. He used the power of darkness to resist, but his palm was still corroded in an instant. In just an instant, he felt that the other party's strength was much stronger than his. "He discovered me. This young man isn't simple." A voice came from the darkness behind him. When did such a monstrous existence appear in the vast region? Even the southern royal family of the only sect doesn't have such an outstanding young man. Immediately investigate all information about this young man. I want to know everything about them. Wu Qingcheng said with a grave expression as he slowly frowned. In this vast area, is there another young man who is more outstanding than me? He mumbled as he walked towards the mansion. His eyes were sparkling. That's true. It was so effortless. Wang Xian held the invitation letter in his hand with a smile on his face. What he needed to do next was to gain Ling Jianyar's good impression and make Ling Jianyar fall in love with him. I'm not very good at chasing girls. I've never chased girls before. Sigh. The river flows east for 30 years, but the river flows west for 30 years. Back then Ling Jianyar was pursuing me. Now it's my turn to pursue her. Wang Xian smiled and looked at Ling Jianyar, who was sitting cross-legged in the room cultivating. Then, he began to study the blending of light and darkness. Time passed slowly. The next day, Ling Jianyar's life was still very dull. Wang Xian continued to play the role of a peeping devil and hid in the surroundings. Sister Bing Jianyar, let's go. We are heading to the residence of the Crown Prince of Wuxia City. The banquet is about to begin. On the evening of the third day, the ninth prince, Bing Jinghuan, came to Ling Jianyar's courtyard and shouted at her. All right, senior brother. Let's go. Ling Jianyar nodded. The group of them rode the carriage and headed towards the direction of Wuxia Empire. Wang Xian followed them all the way. He watched Ling Jianyar and the rest enter the residence of the Crown Prince of Wuxia City. At this moment, luxurious cars were parked around the residence. Most of the cars were pulled by void interpretation level ferocious beasts. It could be seen how noble the identity of the visitors was. However, this was the territory of Wuxia Empire. The people around were not too surprised. Wang Xian appeared and looked at his clothes. He was dressed in white. With a move of his arm, a staff of light appeared in his hand. He was dressed like a radiant priest. Wang Xian walked straight to the residence. Please take out your invitation card, young master. When he reached the entrance, the two beauties said softly. Wang Xian passed the invitation card to them. Please follow me. A girl nodded and led Wang Xian inside. The entire courtyard was planted with spiritual herbs of level 8 or 9. The rich spiritual energy filled the entire courtyard, making the entire mansion look extremely luxurious. The girl brought him to the left. After walking for about a kilometer, a man-made lake appeared in their sight. In the lake there were black lotus flowers growing. Each black lotus flower was emitting a strong power of darkness. It was a spiritual herb of the void interpretation level. Wang Xian looked at his surroundings in astonishment. Young master, in front of the Black Lotus Lake is the location where our crown prince is holding a banquet. There are already many young masters and young ladies here. The girl pointed to the front and said to Wang Xian. Chapter 1540. 1540 to suppress all heaven's favorites 3. Wang Xian looked ahead. At this moment, in front of the Black Lotus Lake, a group of young men and women were scattered around. Exquisite tables and chairs were placed there. There were also some black pets running around. Looks like there will be quite a number of people coming today. Wang Xian looked at the huge venue. There were already hundreds of young men and women gathered there and conversing. Ling Jianyar and the rest were surrounded by a group of people. One by one, the young men and women were chatting with the young men and women from the Bingxin Empire, with some compliments. Many young men and women were dressed in the attire of their families, empires and sections. Most of them were the core heaven's favorites from second-rate forces. The Bingxin Empire was the only one from a first-rate force. You're here a little early. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and walked forward. Wang Xian had an unfamiliar face. Moreover, he couldn't tell which force he was from the clothes he was wearing. His arrival didn't attract anyone's attention. He looked at Ling Jianyar, who was surrounded by a group of people, and frowned slightly. Ling Jianyar didn't know him now. He had to think of a way to gain Ling Jianyar's favor and bring her back to the Dragon Palace. He couldn't just kidnap her right away. It didn't feel right. Give me some gifts. I forgot to bring Ling Jianyar's pet. Other than the pet. Wang Xian really didn't know what Ling Jianer liked. He rummaged through his interspatial ring and found a golden sharp sword. It was a longsword of the 6th level of the void interpretation stage. It was much better than the sword in her hand. Wang Xian came to a seat and sat down. He picked up the teacup on the table and poured a cup. He looked at Ling Jianyar's seat. Ling Jianer, who was in the crowd, sensed Wang Xian's gaze. She frowned and looked over. When she saw Wang Xian's face, a hint of coldness flashed across her eyes. Then she turned her head around. There's still a long way to go. Wang Xian looked at Ling Jianyar's gaze and shook his head helplessly. More and more people came. As one of the 3 superpowers in the vast region, the heir to the throne of Wuxia Empire was holding a banquet. Everyone had to give him face. The disciples of the second-rate forces and first-rate forces flocked to the banquet. Each and every one of the powerful heaven's favorites had a strong sense of confidence on their faces. Soon, the number of people gathered in the surroundings reached over 1,000. The men were handsome, the women were beautiful, and they had an extraordinary temperament. Any one of them would be the best. There's finally no one beside Ling Jianer. Wang Xian saw the few princes and princesses of the Bingxin Empire who were beside Ling Jianer leave. Ling Jianer, who was not good at communicating, sat alone. A smile appeared on his face. He tidied up his clothes and walked towards Ling Jianer with a staff and a long sword in his hands. Ahem, this beautiful lady. I am Wang Xian. I fell in love with you the moment I saw you. This is the second time we meet. This is a gift for you. Wang Xian walked over and said with a smile when he saw Ling Jianer, who was sitting there. Ling Jianer raised her head and fixed her gaze on Wang Xian. A hint of coldness slowly appeared in her eyes as she stared at him emotionlessly. Did you follow me and leave the sculpture at the door? A cold voice came out of her mouth, causing Wang Xian to be slightly stunned. Ahem, this is because I really miss Ling Jianer too much. That's why I leave every time I put down my things. Wang Xian smiled embarrassedly. This was a little self-defeating. Don't tell me Ling Jianer thinks I'm a stalker. Take your things and scram. If I find out again, I'll kill you. Ling Jianer stared at Wang Xian with a frosty gaze. Wang Xian looked at Ling Jianyar's frosty face, and a bitter expression appeared on his face. Did I bring this upon myself? It's you. How dare you come here? At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from beside him. This made Wang Xian, who was feeling a little annoyed, frown when he heard this voice. He looked to the side. Brother 15, who is he? A curious voice asked Tian Qingguang, who was beside him. It's that priest, that arrogant priest. Tian Qingguang gritted his teeth as he stared at Wang Xian. His eyes were filled with ferocity. Ever since he was thrown out from the 4th floor, he had lost a lot of face. He had been thinking about taking revenge, but he realized that this fellow didn't leave the holy medicine clinic at all. This had been bothering him for a long time. What he didn't expect was that this fellow would actually come here. He actually dared to come here to attend the banquet. One had to know that the day he insulted the child of light, the daughter of light, was a piece of trash. However, Wu Qingyan was also included. Today's banquet was organized by brother Wu Qingyan. Priest Wang? That fellow who dared to insult Princess Wu Qingyan. The young man next to him narrowed his eyes slightly and stared coldly at Wang Xian. That's right, brother. It's him. A hint of killing intent flashed across Tian Qingguang's eyes as he stared at Wang Xian. Just now, this guy seemed to be confessing to this beauty, but he was rejected. A woman beside him sized up Wang Xian and said mockingly. More than 10 people from the Divine Light Empire sized up Wang Xian as their eyes turned cold. Wang Xian's statement that the son of light and the daughter of light were all trash had offended the entire Divine Light Empire. Get out of the way. Wang Xian looked at the people from the Divine Light Empire surrounding him and said impatiently, If you want us to move aside, so be it. Who do you think you are? Pastor Wang, I wonder who gave you the courage to come here. The young man standing in the middle placed his hands together and stared at Wang Xian coldly. Don't challenge my patience. Wang Xian looked at the young man in the middle and raised his head slightly. Hehe, challenging your patience? So what if I challenge you? Throw me out. The young man stared at Wang Xian and said with some sarcasm, Trash, I will let you know the consequences of offending me. Beside the young man, Tian Qingguang stared at Wang Xian with a dark expression. At the place where the crown prince of Wuqing City was holding a banquet, they would definitely not dare to cause trouble here. However, he did not have any scruples when facing this priest Wang. This fellow had once insulted Princess Wu Qingyan. If he were to teach him a good lesson, the crown prince of Wuqing City would definitely not blame him. On the contrary, he would leave a good impression on Princess Wu Qingyan. Ling Jian'er, who was at the side, saw that the people from the Divine Light Empire were targeting this young man whom she thought was crazy. She frowned slightly and ignored them. Scram! A hint of coldness appeared in Wang Xian's eyes as he walked forward. An invisible force rushed towards Tian Qingguang and the young man. Bang! What? How dare you attack? A powerful force rushed towards them, causing the expressions of Tian Qingguang and the young man to change drastically. Their bodies could not help but fly backward. Bang! Bang! They were located beside the Black Lotus Lake. Under the powerful force, the two of them fell into the lake directly, causing a splash and producing a loud sound. How dare you sneak attack me? You are courting death. The young man and Tian Qingguang fell into the water, causing them to be in an extremely sorry state instantly. They stared at Wang Xian and roared with a ferocious expression. What's going on? The voice that came from this side instantly attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 1541. 1541 Suppressing All Heaven's Favorites 4. What's going on? What happened? Why are they fighting? I don't know. Who dares to cause trouble at the place where the crown prince of Wuqing City is holding a banquet? Isn't this courting death? It seems to be someone from the Divine Light Empire. Who is that young man holding a scepter? In the residence of the crown prince of Wuji Empire, Tian Qingguang and the young man were directly thrown into the Black Lotus Lake, splashing water all over their bodies. Their ferocious faces emitted angry voices that attracted the attention of everyone around them. Those who were able to come here today were at least core disciples of second-rate forces. They were Heaven's Pride disciples. When they saw that someone dared to cause trouble here, their faces were filled with astonishment as they discussed among themselves. Wang Xian swept a disdainful glance at the two of them and walked coldly to the side. Stop right there. How dare you sneak attack our prince? When the rest of the young ladies from the Divine Light Empire saw the two princes being thrown into the lake, their faces were extremely embarrassed. They immediately surrounded Wang Xian in the middle and said coldly, Bastard, you've completely infuriated me. The young man beside Tian Qingguang leaped and flew out of the lake. The lake water on his body evaporated immediately as he stared at Wang Xian with an extremely cold expression. Is this a fight? Aren't you going to give face to the crown prince of Wuqing City? I still don't understand what's going on. Who is that young man? Why did he suddenly start fighting? When the crowd saw the people of Divine Light Dynasty surrounding a young man, they revealed curious expressions. From their conversation just now, that young man seems to be that priest Wang or something. I think he once insulted the daughter of light, the child of light. Priest Wang? That priest Wang who treated people for a month for free? That priest Wang who threw the son of light down the stairs and called the daughter of light a piece of trash? No wonder the people of Divine Light Dynasty are so angry and dare to make a move here. It turns out that that guy once insulted Princess Wu Qingyan. The Crown Prince of Wuqing City and Princess Qingyan have a very good relationship. It seems that Priest Wang even confessed to a princess of Bingxin Dynasty just now. When the people nearby told them the reason, the young men and women around them were surprised. They had heard of the name Priest Wang. They also knew that he said that the daughter of light was trash. However, what surprised them was that this priest Wang actually dared to attend today's banquet. Wasn't he asking for humiliation? A confession? Bing Jinghuan from the Bingxin Empire, who was standing at the side, heard the discussions of the people around him. He frowned slightly and looked at Ling Jian'er. Jian'er, is that guy bothering you again? He looked at Ling Jian'er and asked with a gloomy face. I told him to leave immediately. Ling Jian'er said faintly. Bing Jinghuan narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Wang Xian with murderous intent. Ling Jian'er was already someone he had already decided on internally. A radiant priest dared to snatch her away from him. He was simply courting death. Priest Wang, you have insulted my brother, the son of light, and the daughter of light, Princess Wu Qingyan. If you don't give me an explanation today, I will make sure that you will not be able to walk out of this place. A radiant longsword appeared in the hands of the young man from the Divine Light Empire. A faint murderous intent appeared on his face as he glared at Wang Xian and shouted coldly. You can insult me, but you have insulted Princess Wu Qingyan. Don't even think about walking out of here safely today. Tian Qingguang walked over with a staff in his hand. Around them, more than a dozen young men from the Divine Light Empire exuded a faint aura and locked onto them completely. When the people around them saw their formation, they looked like they were watching a show. You bunch of trash. Wang Xian glanced at the people from the Divine Light Empire with disdain. The highest level was level 2 of the see-through void tier. In his eyes, they were all trash. You are really arrogant. A mere priest. I wonder where your courage and background come from. You insulted Princess Qingyan and dared to pester my junior sister Bing Jinghuan. At this moment Bing Jinghuan, who was standing at the side, walked out slowly. He stared at Wang Xian with flickering eyes as he spoke in a sinister tone. The 9th prince of the Bingxin Empire has also come out. This fellow has not only provoked the people of the Divine Light Empire, but also the Bingxin Empire. What background does this priest Wang have that he dares to provoke 2 core disciples with first-rate strength? Pestering the 9th prince's junior sister? This guy is going to be done for. In the surroundings, the disciples of the various factions were astonished when they saw the 9th prince of the Bingxin Empire suddenly walk out. There were only 8 first-rate factions in the vast continent. Now, he had directly provoked the most outstanding disciples of 2 factions. This was simply courting death. Ling Jian'er frowned slightly when she saw Bing Jinghuan walking over. However, she didn't say anything. As she was currently cultivating the heartless sword principle, she was very weak in terms of love. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the 9th prince who stood out and stared at him. A hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. He stood there indifferently and swept his gaze across everyone. He said indifferently, "What can you do to me? What can you do to me?" Facing the disciples of the Divine Light Empire and the Bingxin Empire indifferently, what can you do to me with just one sentence? This was simply too arrogant. The words, "What can he do to me?" made the faces of the people of the Divine Light Empire, Tian Qingguang, and Bing Jinghuan instantly turn black. They didn't expect that this guy would still dare to be so arrogant under such circumstances. Cripple him. Bing Jinghuan glanced at the youth in the middle of the Divine Light Empire and said coldly, "Prince, leave it to us. You don't have to do anything." The group of young men and women around the Divine Light Empire said coldly, "Bind him and let the prince and Bing Jinghuan punish him." A young man shouted coldly, and a staff appeared in his hand. Around them, more than 10 young men and women nodded. Against a radiant priest, there was naturally no need for the prince to do anything. The young prince from the Divine Light Empire stood there arrogantly and coldly, looking down on them. Bing Jinghuan placed his hands behind his back and looked at them coldly. Light entanglement. A young man raised the scepter in his hand and waved it. There were more than 10 young men. The lowest among them was at level 1, and one was at level 2 of the void interpretation stage. Most importantly, there were no radiant priests among them. Their combat strength was very strong. A bunch of trash. Wang Xian looked at the rays of light that were winding towards him. He waved the staff of light in his hand. The rays of light that were winding towards him collapsed immediately. Following that, under their astonished gazes, the rays of light gathered again. The rays of light were winding towards their bodies. Instead, they were all restrained. Wang Xian waved his arm, and the dozen of young men and women who were restrained by the rays of light, flew towards the back instantly. Bang! 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 The powerful collision caused the dozen of them to spit out blood instantly. What? Such strong strength! Everyone around was slightly shocked as they looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. Chapter 1542. 1542 Suppressing all heaven's favorites 5. How is this possible? In the banquet venue of the Wuxia city mansion, Tian Qingguang, another young man, and Bing Jinghuan let out a cry of surprise. Their pupils contracted slightly as they stared at Wang Xian with flickering eyes. The young men and women from the Divine Light Empire were not strong, but they were definitely not weak either. It was absolutely easy for them to deal with a young priest of light. However, they were instantly killed by this radiant priest Wang. This made the three of them look slightly embarrassed. The people around them were also surprised. This fellow's strength. As the son of light, Tian Qingguang clenched his fists and stared at Wang Xian. His expression was uncertain. As a radiant priest, he had a very good understanding of the radiant priest's strength. Last time, he had been easily thrown out from the 4th floor. He had thought that the other party's strength was at most at the 3rd level of the Insight Void tier. A radiant priest at the 3rd level of the Insight Void tier could not be found with the strength of other cultivators at the 2nd level of the Insight Void tier. However, there was a 2nd level of the Insight Void tier who had surrounded Priest Wang just now, and there were more than 10 first level of the Insight Void tier. How could he have been thrown out in an instant? How strong was he? A 4th level Insightful Void martial artist radiant priest. He couldn't believe it. However, his strength. Tian Qingguang stared at Wang Xian with an uncertain expression. Isn't this priest Wang a radiant priest? How could he defeat the people from the Divine Light Empire in an instant? The elite disciples from the surrounding factions were also staring at Wang Xian in shock, as they sized him up carefully. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant. So he had such strength. To think that he could easily defeat a bunch of powerhouses at level 1 and level 2 of the see-through realm. He really has the right to be arrogant. Interesting, this is more interesting. Bing Jinghuan stared at Wang Xian coldly as he slowly took 2 steps forward. It is very interesting. The young prince from the Divine Light Empire also slowly walked forward with a long sword of light in his hand. 9th Prince, do you want us to teach this guy a lesson for you? 8th Prince, do you need us to make a move? Seeing that Bing Jinghuan and the young prince from the Divine Light Empire were about to make a move, the surrounding youths from the second-rate forces took a few steps forward and asked for instructions. If they made a move now, they would be able to make the 2 princes from the first-rate forces show their favor. There's no need. I want to see how strong a radiant priest can be. Bing Jinghuan's lips curled up slightly with a hint of interest on his face. What's going on? The prince of Wu Qingqing's banquet has been changed to a sparring venue? There might be people sparring here. Interesting. We're a little late. At this moment, a surprised voice came from behind. Everyone was slightly stunned when they heard this voice. They quickly looked back. He Sui family. He family. Is he Yuan, the young master of the He family's forest beast taming clan? The woman beside him seems to be He Sui Qing, He Yuan's fiancé. The He family and He Sui family are going to have a marriage alliance. He Suiwen is here too. His talent is only slightly inferior to He Yuan and the crown prince of Wuqing City in the vast region. However, he's still very powerful. Everyone looked behind them and hurriedly shouted at He Yuan, He Suiwen, and the others in front of them. In terms of the top heaven's favorites in the vast region, the ones standing at the top were Wuqing City of Wuji Imperial City, the 2 heavens favorites in heaven and earth, the Invincible Southern Emperor, and the He clan's forest beast master He Yuan. Each of them had their own name, which was recognized by the entire vast region. Even He Suiwen of the He clan, and the other outstanding disciples of the solitaire sect of the southern imperial city of Wuji Imperial City, couldn't compare to the 5 of them. The talent of the 5 of them was unparalleled in their generation. He Yuan's arrival. and He Suiwen's arrival made everyone look over. Young Master, when you're here. It's not too late, it's not too late. I was just preparing to teach a radiant priest a lesson. It just so happens that you can watch the show. When Bing Jinghuan of the Bingxin Empire saw the arrival of the He clan and He Suiwen clan, he looked at He Suiwen and said with a faint smile, "Teach a radiant priest a lesson? Haha, what? Ninth Prince, are you guys fighting with the Divine Light Empire?" He Suiwen looked at the people of the Divine Light Empire, lying on the ground, and said with a laugh, "Young Master Wen, don't sow discord between me and brother Bing Jinghuan." The 8th Prince of the Divine Light Empire looked at He Suiwen and said indifferently, "Oh, aren't you two fighting?" He Suiwen revealed a curious expression. As they spoke, they walked over and glanced around. He Yuan also swept his gaze across the crowd with a smile on his face. "A guy who dares to insult Princess Qingyan and provoke us. You guys are just in time to watch us do it for free." Bing Jinghuan said to He Suiwen indifferently. "Haha, interesting. I would like to see who dares to provoke you, Bing Jinghuan and Tian Qingyuan. Heroes are useless." He Suiwen laughed out loud and looked at Wang Xian with a smile. His eyes were filled with curiosity. He Suiwen, who was dressed loosely, exuded a free and easy aura. He stood there with his arms crossed. He Yuan was also looking around curiously. His gaze landed on Wang Xian's back. He looked at this figure and felt that it was somewhat familiar. However, he shook his head immediately. He had a bright aura and held a bright staff in his hand. How could it be? Young Master Wang Xian, it's young Master Wang Xian. At this moment, Lin Yaoyao, who was at the side, suddenly widened her eyes and exclaimed when she saw Wang Xian's figure. As a member of the Forest Yaoyao race, she had a unique talent. When she first saw Wang Xian's figure, she felt that it was somewhat familiar. However, she didn't think of this figure as that person. However, when she sensed it carefully, she was stunned. She sensed it a few more times before she could confirm it completely. Young Master Wang Xian was definitely that young Master Wang Xian. Young Master Wang Xian? Yaoyao, did you see wrongly? He Suiqing, who was holding He Yuan's arm, heard her exclamation and looked over in puzzlement. Although she also felt that this back view was very familiar, how was this possible? Long time no see, He Yuan. However, at this moment, Wang Xian heard a voice coming from behind. He turned his head and looked at He Yuan with a smile. Brother Wang Xian, this. When He Yuan saw Wang Xian, his eyes widened in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He even stuttered when he spoke. Is he really the Wang Xian brothers? Is he really the Wang Xian brothers? He was dressed in white and held a staff of light in his hand. His body was exuding a holy radiance. Damn it! How could he be the sky demon, who had the demonic aura churning in his mind and killed millions of living beings and 7 demon lords in one night? Chapter 1543. 1543 Suppressing all the heavens. Favorite 6. Brother Wang Xian, it's really you, it's really you. He Yuan was stunned for a few seconds. Looking at the warm smile on Wang Xian's face and his bright and warm expression, he finally came to his senses. He walked over excitedly and extended his arm to hug him. Okay. Wang Xian smiled faintly and patted his shoulder. However, when all the elite disciples from the empires, families, and sects saw He Yuan hugging that priest Wang, everyone was slightly stunned. Even the 8th Prince of the Divine Light Empire, Tian Qingyuan, and the 9th Prince of the Bingxin Empire, Bing Jinghuan, were slightly stunned. They frowned slowly. Young Master Wang, I didn't expect to see you here. Lin Yaoyao walked over as well. Her eyes were sparkling as she looked at Wang Xian. She didn't expect that Wang Xian had changed so much. Cough, cough, cough. However, at the back, He Suiwen saw He Yuan walking over. When he heard their words, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He couldn't help but cough twice. His face was filled with disbelief. This sister, little sister, is he that Wang Xian? That sky demon? He Suiwen felt the corner of his mouth twitching as he asked. Yes, it's him. It's definitely him. He Suiqing also opened her mouth slightly. When she saw that Wang Xian was filled with shock, she immediately walked over. "Young Master Wang, we meet again. It's great that you're all right." He Suiqing walked over and suppressed the shock in her heart. She said with a smile on her face. Wang Xian nodded at her. I'm fine now." "My goodness." He Suiwen, who was standing at the back, looked at Wang Xian's smiling face. Even when he spoke, he felt as though he was bathing in the spring breeze. He felt a little dazed. Was this the sky demon that his sister had told him about? Was this the peerless demon that slaughtered millions of lives in a single night? Was he the peerless demon that claimed that there were no demons in the world? How the hell was that possible? How does that priest Wang know young Master He Yuan of the He clan? Moreover, he seems to be very familiar with him. What is this priest Wang's background? At this moment, a surprised voice came from the surroundings. When He Suiwen heard this, his eyes widened again. Priest Wang? He had heard of this name before. He was now a very famous priest of light in the vast region. He treated the patients for a month for free and saved nearly 100,000 people. He was known as the Hanging Urn Salvation Benevolence. Crazy, Hanging Urn Salvation? Benevolence? A sky demon is actually called benevolence. He felt that his worldview was somewhat collapsing and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. However, when he thought of what he had just said, the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. He was prepared to watch from the side with a mocking expression just now. What if he hated him to the core and killed him at night? Obviously, this heavenly demon could not be measured by common sense. Although the He Suiwen family was extremely powerful, they would definitely not provoke a demon who dared to slaughter millions of lives in one night for no reason. Ahem, Brother Wang Xian, I'm really sorry. I didn't recognize you just now. Please don't mind it. He Suiwen squeezed out a thick smile and walked forward. He spoke politely to Wang Xian. As he spoke, he even touched his sister with his arm. He Suiqing rolled her eyes at him and looked at Wang Xian. Young Master Wang, this is my brother He Suiwen. My brother is not a proper person. You don't have to pay attention to him. Hello. Wang Xian nodded at He Suiwen. Hello. He Suiwen quickly replied with a smile. Brother Wang Xian, why are you here? Why are you dressed like this? He Yuan sized up Wang Xian with a smile and asked with a smile. I came here while walking. This place is not bad either. Wang Xian smiled and did not say much. However, while Wang Xian and He Yuan were chatting and laughing, Bing Jinghuan, Tian Qing, Yuan Tian, Qing Guang, and the rest who were at the side looked embarrassed. They didn't expect that priest Wang actually knew He Yuan from the He clan. Moreover, even He Suiwen was chatting with him with a smile on his face. This made them look at each other with embarrassed expressions. Young Master Wen, young Master He, please move aside. There are some matters that we haven't resolved yet. Bing Jinghuan's face was solemn as he spoke coldly to He Suiwen, He Yuan, and the rest in the middle. Resolved? What matters do we have to resolve together? When He Yuan heard Bing Jinghuan's words, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he stared at him coldly. He stood in front of Wang Xian to express his attitude. Haha, Bing Jinghuan, Tian Qingyuan, you want to get rid of Brother Wang Xian? Don't you know what you are capable of? Just the two of you? I'm not the one who said it, but it's not certain who will get rid of who. I'm not saying that you are all trash in front of Brother Wang Xian. He Suiwen raised his head slightly and swept his gaze across Bing Jinghuan and Tian Qingyuan. He did not give them any face and spoke directly. In one sentence, everyone present was trash in front of Wang Xian and his brother. He did not put anyone in his eyes at all. He Suiwen's words clearly had the intention of fawning over Wang Xian. It was to atone for what he had said at the beginning. However, there was also a part of it that was his truth. The incident of the ancient demon city being destroyed by the sky demon more than a month ago shocked the entire vast region. He Suiwen was also shocked. When he found out that his sister was at the scene, he learned about it from her in detail. An evil sky demon who was less than 30 years old, an existence who single-handedly killed 7 demon masters. An expert who shocked even the patriarch of the He clan. Such a person stood here. In the entire vast region of the same generation, all of them were trash in front of Wang Xian. Even those below the 8th level of the see-through realm were trash in front of Wang Xian. This was the capital brought by strength. This. He Suiwen's words are too arrogant. Everyone here is trash. Didn't he count himself in? He even included young Master He Yuan? Is that priest Wang really that strong? When everyone heard He Suiwen's words, they were slightly shocked. This was simply putting on airs for that priest Wang. Moreover, He Yuan was also standing beside that priest Wang. It was obvious that he was also supporting him. The He clan's forces could be ranked in the top 5 in the vast region. To be precise, they were ranked 4th. Excluding the 3 super forces, the He clan was next. It wasn't the He clan's overall strength, but the existence of the holy tree. With the He clan backing the holy tree, even the superpowers couldn't stand it. The He clan and He Sui clan's strength was much stronger than the Divine Light Empire's Bing Xine empires. Looking at the He Yuan and He Suiwen's attitude, Bing Jinghuan and Tian Qing Yuan's expressions were somewhat awkward. Oh, what such big words, to actually say that everyone here is trash. At this time, a voice suddenly came. Chapter 1544. 1544 Suppressing all heaven's favorite 7. A voice filled with a domineering aura and a faint questioning tone. When everyone around heard this voice, they were slightly shocked and quickly looked behind them. Even He Yuan and He Suiwen looked behind them with grave expressions. There were 7 to 8 young men behind the 2 young men. The 2 young men in the lead walked in front, and no one dared to take even half a step behind them. The 2 young men wore black and white clothes, and the most eye-catching thing was that they each wore a crown on their heads. On the black and white clothes, one of them wrote, "I am the only one in the sky," and the other wrote, "I am the only one in the earth." There was a hint of disdain in their eyes, as if they did not put the entire world in their eyes. "I am the only one in the sect. I am the only 2 heavens favorites in the sky and the earth." Outsiders called them the Heaven's Pride Experts and the Earth's Pride Experts. Heaven's Pride Experts, Earth's Pride Experts. Heaven's Pride Experts, Earth's Pride Experts. Compared to He Yuan's arrival, the arrival of the 2 Heaven's Pride Experts from the Solitaire sect made everyone quickly bow and call out respectfully. This kind of honorable status did not only come from their strength, but also the faction behind them. The super faction, the Solitaire sect. From the name, one could see that this was a very overbearing sect. The Solitaire sect's motto was that as long as it involved cultivation, they were the only ones who were supreme. Therefore, every disciple of the Solitaire sect had an aura that surpassed everyone else. They were high and mighty, not afraid of anyone. Their strong confidence was the source of their strength. As the 2 supreme geniuses of the solipsistic sect, their strength and aura were even more overbearing. The arrogance that came from their bones was something that even the core disciples of first-rate forces would feel inferior to. When we arrived, someone said that everyone here is trash. Hee. Young Master Tian, who was standing on the left, had a smile on his face. He swept his gaze across everyone and finally landed on He Suiwen. "I give you permission to reorganize your words." As he spoke, he stared at He Suiwen with a smile on his face. The aura that dominated everything around him slowly spread out. He Suiwen's expression instantly changed when he saw the 2 supreme prodigies of the Solitaire sect staring at him. Even He Yuan, who was standing beside him, had a grave expression on his face. He Yuan was able to compare to the prodigies of a superforce because he was very young, and he had powerful beast-taming abilities. In fact, in terms of strength, He Yuan was still slightly weaker than them. It could only be said that his potential in the future was not weaker than them, or even higher than them. However, at the moment, he was still very afraid of young Master Tian and young Master D. He Suiwen saw that the people of Solitaire sect were staring at him, and he smiled awkwardly. He clenched his fists and squeezed out a smile. Other than the people from the solipsistic sect, the rest are all trash. There was a hint of unwillingness in his voice, But He Suiwen couldn't do anything about it. The strength and dominance of the solipsistic sect was not something the He Suiwen family could withstand. Wang Xian looked at He Suiwen, and then at young Master Tian, and young Master Di from the solipsistic sect. His eyes flickered. "I'm very satisfied." Upon hearing He Suiwen's words, young Master Tian nodded with a smile on his face. He was high and mighty. It was as if a king was praising a subject. A Heaven's Pride expert like He Suiwen of the He Suiwen family could only lower his head helplessly. Young Master Tian, young Master Di. At this moment, Bing Jinghuan walked over with slight respect and called out to the two Heaven's Pride experts of the solitaire sect respectfully once again. "Is Wuqing City still not here?" Young Master Tian glanced at Bing Jinghuan and asked. "Young Master Tian, the Crown Prince of Wuqing City is still not here." Bing Jinghuan replied respectfully. The relationship between the Ice Heart Empire and the solitaire sect was relatively close. Of course, this was because one of them was the leader, and the other was the little brother. The ninth prince, Bing Jinghuan, could only be respectful in front of the two current leaders of the solitaire sect. "I heard that your patriarch has taken in an outstanding last disciple. He is very powerful. Who is he?" Young Master Earth looked at the people of the Bingxin Empire and asked indifferently. "Young Master Earth, this junior sister Jian is our patriarch's last disciple. She is at the second level of the profound void martial stage and has very strong combat strength." Bing Jinghuan immediately gestured to Ling Jianyar and said with a smile, "Young Master Tian, young Master Di." Ling Jian hugged her sword and cupped her hands at them. "Not bad, not bad." Young Master Di sized up Ling Jian and nodded his head faintly. "Brother Wang Xian, isn't that the person you're looking for?" When the people from the solipsistic sect arrived, everyone around them stopped talking. Their eyes were focused on the two young masters of heaven and earth. When He Yuanlin Yao Yao and the rest saw Ling Jian, they were shocked and couldn't help but exclaim. They knew that because of this woman in front of them, Wang Xian had transformed into a heavenly demon and destroyed the entire ancient demon city. He had massacred millions of people. Wang Xian had come to the vast region to look for this woman. The exclamations of He Yuan and the rest caused everyone to look over. When they saw that they were staring at Ling Jian, they were slightly surprised and curious. "Okay." Wang Xian ignored the surrounding gazes and nodded at He Yuan. He sighed in his heart and looked at Ling Jian. "She is not dead. However, there are some problems." "Brat, what are you looking at? I'm warning you. If you dare to pester junior sister Bing again in the future, I will make sure you die without a burial ground no matter who you are." When she saw Wang Xian's gaze, Bing Jinghuan stared at him with a gloomy expression. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes as he shouted coldly, "You don't have the right to say that." Wang Xian swept a cold glance at Bing Jinghuan. "Oh, interesting." Young Master Tian looked at Wang Xian and Bing Jinghuan and smiled with interest. "Young Master Tian, young Master Di, this fellow is very arrogant. He pestered junior sister Jianna repeatedly, and even said that the daughter of light is trash." Bing Jinghuan stared at Wang Xian and took a deep breath before speaking to them. "Daughter of light? Hehe, you dare to say that Wu Qingyan is trash? How interesting. The Wang Xian that He Suiwen mentioned just now was you, right? Looking at him, he admitted that he is inferior to you. I am a little curious." Young Master Tian looked at Wang Xian curiously as he spoke. "What is your current realm? What is your background?" he asked Wang Xian lightly. His tone was high and mighty, as though he was questioning the background and identity of a servant. He Yuan and the rest frowned slightly when they heard young Master Tian's question. Wang Xian looked over expressionlessly when he heard young Master Tian's words. "Are you talking to me?" He looked at young Master Tian indifferently and asked. "Haha, interesting. However, I don't want to repeat myself a second time." Young Master Tian laughed out loud when he heard Wang Xian's words. He stared at Wang Xian and continued to speak indifferently. The atmosphere froze instantly. Chapter 1545. 1545 suppressing all heaven's favorites 8. At the banquet venue, young Master Tian laughed out loud. He was still looking at Wang Xian with a smile on his face. He didn't want to repeat his words for the second time. This was a clear indication of his attitude. His arrogant attitude was as though he didn't want to repeat his words to an ant. Disregard, blatant disregard. As soon as young Master Tian finished his sentence, the surrounding atmosphere instantly froze. Although young Master Tian was laughing, many people could feel his dissatisfaction. Towards this priest Wang's dissatisfaction, everyone was slightly shocked. Is that priest Wang courting death? He actually dares to defy young Master Tian. He's really arrogant. He even dares to refute young Master Tian's words. Does he really think that he can rely on the He clan and He Sui clan to protect him? Anyone who dares to go against young Master Tian and young Master D of our sect will not have a good ending. Is that priest Wang courting death? The surrounding people felt young Master Tian's impatience and anger. They were slightly shocked and whispered. They looked at Wang Xian as if they were looking at an idiot. Brother Wang Xian. He Yuan's expression changed slightly when he saw this scene. He shouted at him in a low voice. The two young masters of heaven and earth, the heaven's pride disciples of the super forces, were not to be trifled with. Long time no see. Let's go and have a cup of tea. Wang Xian chose to ignore him and said to He Yuan indifferently. He didn't want to repeat it a second time. When Wang Xian heard this sentence, he wanted to laugh. He ignored him and said to He Yuan. Then, he walked towards the table at the side. When He Yuan saw Wang Xian's actions, a hint of bitterness appeared on his face. He took a glance at young Master Tian, whose expression turned gloomy instantly. He sighed in his heart. Although young Master Heaven-defying was talented and had a strong background, it was a pity that the one you provoked was a sky demon. Would a crazy sky demon, who was invincible within the 7th level of the see-through realm, care about your identity and background? Would he lower his head for a person at the 3rd level of the see-through realm? What a joke. Very good, very good. It's been a long time since anyone dared to disobey me and provoke me. At this moment, looking at Wang Xian walking towards a table with no regard for him, the smile on young Master Tian's face disappeared completely. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. What? This is not giving young Master Tian any face at all. It's more than not giving him face. This is a slap in the face. Completely ignore young Master Tian. Everyone around widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. He's courting death. How dare he disobey young Master Tian? Surround him. Bing Jinghuan was slightly stunned when he saw that Wang Xian did not pay any attention to young Master Tian. Following that, a hint of excitement flashed across his eyes. He waved his arm, and the people from the Bingxin Empire immediately surrounded Wang Xian. The disciples of the solipsistic sect who were standing behind young Master Tian and young Master D also stared at Wang Xian coldly and slowly surrounded him. How dare you ignore our senior brother Tian? I sentence you to die. A young man from the solipsistic sect stared at Wang Xian coldly. He also declared his sentence to Wang Xian with an air of superiority. The people from the Bingxin Empire surrounded Wang Xian, and the people from the solipsistic sect followed closely behind to surround him. Upon seeing this scene, everyone held their breaths. Young Master Tian, young Master D. This is the banquet venue for the Crown Prince of Wuxia City. Forget it. He Yuan took a deep breath when he saw this scene. He said with an embarrassed expression, The current you is not qualified to say such words to me. Young Master Tian swept a cold glance at He Yuan. He stared at Wang Xian and said expressionlessly, It's been a long time since someone provoked me. I want to let others know that the outcome of provoking me will be the same as yours. You dare to provoke young Master Tian? You really have a way out. If you don't walk through hell, you'll just barge in. You brought this upon yourself. A radiant priest actually dares to provoke young Master Tian. TSK. There's no need for young Master Tian to make a move at all. This fellow can be killed 10 times. When some of the surrounding disciples saw young Master Tian being completely enraged. They raised their heads and shouted at Wang Xian, while trying to curry favor with him. Wang Xian stopped and swept his gaze across the crowd surrounding him. He swept his gaze across the disciples who were trying to curry favor with young Master Tian, and reprimanded him. Finally, his gaze landed on young Master Tian. A hint of coldness and arrogance flashed across his eyes. Ending? In my opinion, all of you, including the two of you, are trash. Wang Xian looked at young Master Tian and young Master Di and said coldly. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. They stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. At this moment, he actually dared to provoke young Master Tian and young Master Di. Furthermore, this time, it was a blatant humiliation. Calling the two young masters of heaven and earth as trash. This was simply too arrogant. He was really seeking his own death. FUCK cool, this is simply too cool. At the side, when Sui-wen heard Wang Xian's words, a fiery look shot out from his eyes as he roared in his heart. FUCK, as expected of the sky demon. So what if you are the master of heaven and earth? I will call you both trash in front of you. This is simply too domineering. You are indeed worthy of the name of the sky demon. There are too many words for a dead person. A terrifying killing intent suddenly shot out of young Master Tian's eyes. Young Master Di also raised his head slightly. The crown on his head emitted a faint pressure. I really didn't expect that priest Wang to have such terrifying strength. He single-handedly destroyed 2 rank 7 void interpretation experts. And in a short period of time, he destroyed a second-rate force and established the Heartless Sword Path sect. At this moment, Wu Qingqing's eyes were still filled with shock as he walked towards the Black Lotus Lake. Beside him were Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan. We also didn't expect that he would actually. He's actually so monstrous. Heavens! A rank 7 profound void martial expert, who's not even 30 years old, and he killed 2 rank 7 profound void martial experts. This is too heaven-defying. No wonder we went over to teach him a lesson, and were easily defeated by him. At this moment, Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan's small faces were also filled with shock. Not long ago, they had gotten their subordinates to look for Priest Wang's information, and sent it to them. As a super force, the information of the Wuji Empire was unparalleled in the entire vast region. In just a few days, all the information about Wang Xian was gathered. When they saw the contents of the information, the 3 of them were stunned for a very, very long time. One was a 7th-level see-through void martial artist, who was less than 30 years old, while the other was a peerless genius. The so-called heaven's favorites in the vast region, even Wu Qingcheng, felt that they were trash in Wang Xian's eyes. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan's mouths were slightly agape. They recalled the last time when the 2 of them rushed over to teach him a lesson. If Wang Xian really let them off, he could easily crush them to death. How could a young man from that small place in Luhai district be so heaven-defying? Chapter 1546. 1546 Suppressing all the heavens favorites 9. Oh right brother, how do you know that priest Wang Xian Wang? At this moment Wu Qingyan, who was rushing to the banquet venue, asked her brother curiously. They had already sent their subordinates to look for information on Wang Xian. When they were reporting to them, they found out that her brother was also sending people to look for information on him. Huh? Wu Qingqing was slightly taken aback. He coughed lightly and said faintly, I bumped into him by accident 2 days ago, and realized that he was extraordinary. He was a dragon among men, so I did some research. I even gave him an invitation letter for today's banquet. He should be here today. Wu Qingqing said directly without blushing or gasping for breath. He couldn't possibly say that he was met by that young man, and was intimidated by him. He even asked for an invitation letter from him. It was simply too embarrassing to say that. How could he retain the image of being invincible in the hearts of his 2 younger sisters? He will be here. HMPH. This fellow has said that I'm the daughter of light, and I'm trash in front of him. What the hell? Wu Qingyan snorted coldly when she heard that Wang Xian was coming over. Wu Qingqing smiled when he heard his sister's words. However, with his strength, Not only am I trash in front of him, even you, brother, are trash in front of him. However, Wu Qingqing's smile soon froze. He wanted to vomit blood when he heard his sister's words. The image of him being invincible in his sister's heart. However, he wasn't in the least bit jealous of the mysterious and monstrous Wang Xian. When a person's strength far surpassed his own, and he had to look up to him, there wouldn't be any jealousy in a person's heart. There would only be respect and worship. Although he didn't have to worship that young man, he was extremely fearful in his heart. Such a person would either not be his enemy, or he would have a 100% certainty of killing him. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Even for the Wuji Empire, there was a possibility of endless trouble in the future. According to the news, that priest Wang came to the vast region to look for a woman. I didn't expect him to be a person who values friendship. Wu Qingyan, who was at the side, suddenly said, "Indeed, I'm a little envious of that girl." Wu Qingyan nodded. A Heaven's Pride expert had traveled the entire vast region in order to look for a woman. Although they had received a lot of information, there was one thing that they didn't know. That was that Wang Xian had transformed into a demonic dragon. At that time, Wang Xian was concealed by the He clan's patriarch and a group of experts using a formation. Other than the He clan and He Sui clan's higher-ups who knew about it, no one else knew about it. There are too many dead people. Kill him for me. Just as they arrived at the banquet area in front of the Black Lotus Lake, a cold voice suddenly sounded. The voice stunned Wu Qingyan and the rest of them. They looked ahead. When Wu Qingqing saw a group of people gathered in front of him, and someone in the middle took out a weapon, his expression instantly turned cold. What interesting thing happened? Why didn't you inform me in advance? Everyone. Wu Qingqing saw that someone was causing trouble at his banquet. His body emitted a wave of pressure as he charged forward. His voice resounded in everyone's mind. In the center, the people from the Bingxin Empire and the disciples of the solipsistic sect were surrounding Wang Xian. Young Master Tian and Young Master Di stood there, as though they were the center of the world. They opened their mouths to judge. Just as they were about to make their move, the voice of Wuqing City was heard. Hearing this voice, everyone was slightly shocked. Even the disciples of the Solitaire sect, who were about to make their move, immediately stopped. The Crown Prince of Wuqing City of Wuji Imperial City is here. It's the voice of the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince is here. The voice of the Crown Prince is filled with anger. It seems that he is a little angry. Everyone around was slightly shocked and quickly turned to the back. His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness the Crown Prince. Everyone quickly called out respectfully. Today's banquet was organized by His Highness the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. This was the territory of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. Anyone who came would have to give face, even if it was the two young masters of heaven and earth. Wu Qingqing walked towards the center of the hall with great strides. Everyone quickly made way for him. What happened? He asked in a deep voice with no expression on his face. Crown Prince of Wu Qingqing, long time no see. Someone is provoking us here. We might have to trouble you today. Next time, heaven and earth will return the favor. The two young masters of heaven and earth raised their brows slightly when they saw Wu Qing City walking over. A faint smile appeared on their faces as they said this. After all, this was Wu Qing City's territory. If they were outside, they could ignore Wu Qing City and directly kill that brat. But here, he had to give Wu Qing City some face. Oh, that fellow Southern Emperor Wudi didn't come. Who else would dare to provoke you? Wu Qingcheng continued to walk inside. He looked at the two young masters of heaven and earth and was slightly surprised. Behind him, Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan also followed behind with faces full of confusion. Other than their own brother and Southern Emperor Wudi, who else would dare to provoke the two heavens and earth's proud sons of heaven of our sect? There are always some people who want to die. Give us some face, and we'll return it to you next time. Young Master Tian smiled at Wu Qingcheng. Wu Qingcheng also smiled when he heard young Master Tian's words. The face of the elites of the only sect in the world was still very valuable. He had invited them over this time for the Heart of Darkness fruit. He could ask the only sect to help him look for it. Who doesn't know? Wu Qingqing had already made up his mind. As he spoke, he looked at the figures surrounded in the middle. However, before he could finish his words, he swallowed them, and a look of astonishment flashed across his eyes. He pursed his lips. Why didn't I think of this? Besides me and Nangong Wudi, he was the only one who dared to provoke these two guys. Wu Qingqing thought to himself. His mind was full of thoughts. He didn't expect that the people of my sect would have a conflict with him the moment he obtained the information about this monster. It's him. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan, who were standing behind Wu Qingqing, were astonished when they saw Wang Xian, who was surrounded in the middle. Princess Qingyan, it's this guy. This disrespectful guy actually dares to insult you, princess. Wu Qingyan exclaimed in surprise, causing Tian Qingguang and Tian Qingyuan from the Divine Light Empire to move their eyes slightly. They quickly walked over and pointed at Wang Xian. Hee, so this guy has provoked Princess Qingyan before. That's great. I'll get rid of this piece of trash today. Young Master Tian revealed a faint smile on his face and gestured to the disciples of the Solitaire sect. No. However, just as young Master Tian finished his sentence, 3 voices of rejection came from the mouths of Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan. Chapter 1547. 1547 Suppressing all heaven's favorites 10. 3 no came from the mouths of Wu Qingyan and the other 2. The 3 voices caused everyone around to be slightly stunned, and their faces revealed astonishment. The smiles in Tian Qingguang and Tian Qingyuan's eyes immediately froze. They originally thought that the crown prince of Wu Qingqing, Princess Wu Qingyan, and the others would agree, but they didn't think that they would actually refuse. They did not even give face to the 2 heaven's favorites of the unitary sect in heaven and earth. Brother Wu Qingqing, you can't even give face to them? When young Master Tian and young Master Di saw that Wu Qingqing rejected him directly, they frowned slightly and asked coldly, with a slightly unpleasant expression. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan shut their mouths and looked at their brother. They said that they could not because they did not want to see Wang Xian being attacked by the people of the unitary sect. They didn't have any grudges with him to begin with. Moreover, after reading the information, they felt a slight admiration for Wang Xian. A peerless heaven's favorite who was less than 30 years old, and a young man who had set foot on the vast territory in search of a woman who valued friendship and loyalty. Naturally, they didn't want him to encounter any bad things. It's not that I don't want to give face to young Master Tian and young Master Di. Wu Qingqing looked at Wang Xian, who was standing there calmly. His gaze was fixed on the 2 people in the sky and on the ground. Everyone who came today was invited by my Wu Qingqing. Since they gave me face and came here, my Wu Qingqing naturally has to ensure their safety. I won't care if they leave my territory. However, in my territory, everything will be done according to my rules. Wu Qingqing stood there and spoke to everyone with a domineering expression. He had the right to be so domineering. This was his territory. As long as he said no, no one could oppose it, not even the 2 heavens favorites from my sect. Of course, if the target of the 2 heavens and earth's attacks was not Wang Xian, Wu Qingqing would definitely give them face. However, it was this extremely talented young man, a powerhouse at level 7 of the see-through realm, who was not even 30 years old. He did not dare to agree, because no one present could make that young man stay. If he were to give face to the 2 heavens favorites from heaven and earth, he would be offending a powerhouse with unlimited potential in the future. Between the 2 of them, he knew what to choose. Therefore, he said no without hesitation. Of course, he had no intention of revealing Wang Xian's strength. He was happy to see the conflict between the only sect and an exceptional genius. Wu Qingqing, we didn't expect you to be such a principled person. Young Master Tian and young Master Di looked at each other and mocked with a slightly displeased expression. Since Wu Qingqing had already disapproved, they naturally couldn't continue to attack. Hehe, in my territory, no one is allowed to attack. If we attack, it would be disrespecting Wu Qingcheng. Outside of my residence, I won't care what young Master Tian and young Master Di want to do, Wu Qingcheng said in an unquestionable tone. The aura of the imperial court emanated from within. The name of the crown prince lived up to its name. His aura also caused the disciples of the surrounding factions to show respect on their faces. Hehe, even outside of your residence you can't care about it. Young Master Tian and young Master Di spoke coldly. They looked at Wang Xian with a cold look in their eyes. They said faintly, I will let you live for 2 more hours. Cherish the last 2 hours. When the surrounding crowd heard the words of the 2 heavens favorites, they stared at Wang Xian with flickering eyes. This guy is dead for sure. Even if the crown prince of Wuxia City doesn't agree to fight here, young Master Tian and young Master Di will make a move immediately after leaving this place. That's right. With the 2 young masters of heaven and earth, they can completely ignore all the rules. I reckon that guy will be killed when he goes out. The He clan and the He Sui clan will not be able to protect him. Who asked that guy to be so arrogant? He actually said that the 2 young masters of heaven and earth are trash. He's simply courting death. The surrounding people whispered as they looked at the cold expressions of the 2 heavens favorites of the solitaire sect in the sky and earth. Wu Qingcheng's gaze swept over the 2 of them. A trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. You might not know who you have provoked. I've said that you are trash. You are trash. Wang Xian looked at the 2 heavens favorites from the solitaire sect in the sky and earth, and said with disdain, how dare he make a ruckus? When they saw Wang Xian speaking directly about the 2 heavens favorites from the solitaire sect in the sky and earth again, everyone was slightly shocked. They stared at Wang Xian. Crack, crack. When the young masters of heaven and earth saw Wang Xian speaking directly about them as trash again, they clenched their fists and let out crisp sounds. This was the first time in history, that someone dared to provoke and insult them continuously. A terrifying murderous aura erupted from the 2 of them as they charged towards Wang Xian. Wuxia City, give us some face. We can get the lone sect to help you find the heart of darkness. Young Master Tian turned his gaze towards Wuxia City and spoke coldly again. Wu Qingcheng was extremely moved, but he still shook his head. My rules cannot be changed. No one can make a move on me. Alright. Young Master Tian and young Master Di slowly retracted their killing intent and exhaled heavily as they said coldly, there is no point in talking anymore. We can wait for 2 hours. The corners of young Master Tian's mouth curled up as a devilish smile appeared on his face. He wanted to kill someone personally. When everyone saw the expression on Prince Tian's face, they felt a chill in their hearts. You guys can afford to wait, but I can't. I'm sorry, the Crown Prince of Wuxia City. I can't give you face. However, at this moment, Wang Xian's voice rang out once again. When He Yuan heard Wang Xian's words, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he shook his head helplessly. He Suiwen revealed a shocked and excited expression. Wu Qingcheng was stunned. He looked at Wang Xian with a stunned expression. He had a bad premonition in his heart. Young Master Tian and young Master Di turned their eyes to Wang Xian abruptly. There was a hint of astonishment in their eyes. Everyone around was stunned when they heard this sudden sentence. Is the world ruled by me? Hehe. At the moment when everyone was stunned, Wang Xian's laughter rang out once again. He stared at young Master Tian and young Master Di with disdain in his eyes. All of you are just ants in my eyes. As he spoke, he waved the staff of light in his hand. 2 incomparably resplendent palms of light attacked young Master Tian and young Master Di directly. At this moment, everyone felt that this priest Wang had gone mad. He actually dared to attack young Master Tian and young Master Di. He actually didn't give face to the Crown Prince of Wuxia City, and actually attacked. Is this guy a madman? Chapter 1548. 1548 above the 1548 chosen ones. Madman. Madman. This priest Wang was completely a madman. He directly attacked young Master Tian and young Master Di. He completely disregarded the face of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. This guy was simply crazy. The Crown Prince of Wuqing City had just said that no one was allowed to make a move in his territory, or else he wouldn't give him face. In this place, even young Master Tian and young Master Di did not dare to disobey the words of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. Neither of them dared to slap his face. However, now Wang Xian had made a move right after Wuqing City had said so. This was simply a slap to the face of the Crown Prince of Wuqing City. He did not give the Crown Prince any face at all. It was a hard slap to the face. He had angered the solipsistic sect, and now he had provoked the Wuji Empire. In this vast region, if he was not a madman, what else could he be? You're courting death. No one can save you today. When young Master Tian and young Master Di saw that Wang Xian was going to attack him directly, a powerful aura of the third level of the see-through realm erupted from their bodies instantly. An aura of the solipsistic sect was completely emitted. Those who were close to them hurriedly retreated. When Wu Qingqing heard Wang Xian's words, his face instantly turned black. A slap to the face. It was a blatant slap to the face. What he said earlier was to prevent the two of them from attacking each other. However, he had forgotten about Wang Xian and his reaction. He had forgotten how Wang Xian, who was a peerless genius, would react. Now that he saw Wang Xian attacking him directly, his expression changed. His face turned dark, and the corner of his mouth twitched. He had already decided not to offend Wang Xian. Now that he had been slapped in the face, he could only stay close to him. Die! Young Master Tian and young Master Di's voice was heard. Both of them stared at the bright arm that Wang Xian had released. They waved their arms that were filled with killing intent. An incomparably huge green palm attacked the arm of light effortlessly. Bang! However, the moment the arm of light collided with the wind attribute palm, the two palms seemed to have been cleansed. The arm of light was not hindered in the slightest. With an even faster speed, it attacked towards the two young masters of heaven and earth. Wah! Cough, cough, cough. Seeing the moment the palm dissipated and the arm of light attacking them, the two of them revealed terrified expressions. Before they could finish their words, the arm grabbed their necks and lifted them into the air, coughing. What? How is this possible? Oh my God, this is... Before young Master Tian and young Master Di could finish their words, everyone around them had incredulous looks on their faces as they cried out involuntarily. What kind of situation was this? How was this possible? Instant kill. One of the three great superpowers of the vast region, the lone sect, the two most monstrous and powerful heavens, chosen disciples of the current generation, were actually instant killed. Without the slightest ability to resist, they were held by the necks of two bright arms and hung in the air. Especially since the one who attacked was a young man. This was impossible. Unbelievable. Everyone's mouth was slightly agape, and their bodies were trembling. Some of them even rubbed their eyes fiercely. They were one of the top 5 heavens favorites in the entire vast region. When Wu Qingqing saw this scene, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and a bitter expression appeared on his face. Brother Wang Xian, don't kill me. Give me some face. Wu Qingqing immediately shouted at Wang Xian with a pained expression. He was really afraid that Wang Xian would kill the most outstanding heaven's favorite of our sect right here and now. At that time, even if he didn't make a move, he wouldn't be able to get away with it. Don't worry, I won't kill them. However, Wang Xian nodded his head at Wu Qingqing indifferently as he looked at the two people in the sky and on the ground whose necks were held by Guang Ming's arms. Their faces were flushed red, and they were in disbelief. Don't you guys want to know my strength and background? He looked at the two of them and asked faintly. Cough, cough. The two of them were floating in the air and staring at Wang Xian. They were completely unable to speak after being held down by the powerful force of the arm of light. A look of shock slowly appeared in their eyes that were filled with disbelief. Put our senior brother down. Otherwise, our sect will not let you off. In the surroundings, all the disciples of the sect finally snapped out of their daze. With an extremely embarrassed expression, they shouted at Wang Xian sternly. "Shut up." Wang Xian swept his gaze across the people surrounding him and waved his arm gently. In the sky, he held down the arms of the two people in the sky and ground. Together with their bodies, they swept towards the people surrounding him. The speed was so fast that they didn't even have time to react. "Ah!" Screams came from the surroundings. Among them were the screams of young Master Tian and young Master Di. At this moment, their faces were covered in blood under the powerful collision. Their pathetic bodies didn't look as high and mighty as before. Even a few of their teeth were missing. Was he the supreme? Was he high and mighty? How could he still have any imposing manner? Everyone from the Bingxin Empire and the solipsistic sect who surrounded Wang Xian was sent flying. It was a miserable scene. Gulp. All the disciples from the surrounding factions gulped and looked at this scene in astonishment. If they didn't hear wrongly, the Crown Prince of Wuxia City had addressed this priest Wang as brother Wang Xian. He even said that he would give me some face. They had a vague guess that the Prince of Wuxia City might know this priest Wang and understand some of his strength. This young man's strength might even cause the Crown Prince of Wuxia City to be a little apprehensive. 4th level of the void interpretation stage, or even higher. Could it be that he had a powerful background? Impossible. There was no background in the vast region that was stronger than Wuxia City. Then there was only one. This priest Wang was very strong and talented. He was so strong that even the Crown Prince of Wuxia City was wary of him. Bang! At this moment, the bodies of young Master Tian and young Master Di in the sky collided violently once again. Both of them fell to the ground. "Ah, you! The two of them fell to the ground. The bright arm that was holding their necks dispersed, and they let out a miserable scream. They stared at Wang Xian, and their expressions changed drastically. A hint of fear grew in their hearts. They were actually killed by this young man in an instant. In front of me, heaven's favorites like you are just trash. Remember, don't be arrogant in front of me in the future," Wang Xian said as he looked at young Master Tian and young Master Di, whose faces were filled with fear. "I'm sorry, Wuxia City's Crown Prince." He looked at Wuxia City and spoke again. His gaze swept over He Yuan and the rest, and he nodded his head faintly. Following that, his gaze landed on Ling Jian. At this moment, Ling Jian was staring at him with a look of astonishment in her eyes. Wang Xian smiled at her faintly and walked out. Behind him, all the young men and women from all the forces were staring at his back with shock. Until disappeared. Chapter 1549. 1549 above, and below the 1549 heaven's favorites. Gulp. Oh my God, just how strong is he? He didn't even give face to the Crown Prince of Wuxia City, and directly beat up the two peerless heaven's favorites of our sect. This is also. Until that figure disappeared, the eyes of the rest of the people in the banquet hall were burning with passion. They couldn't help but say, their voices trembling. The two peerless geniuses of the supreme sect in heaven and earth, who stood high and mighty, questioned and judged that young man in an arrogant manner. In the end, they were directly abused. They didn't have the slightest bit of resistance. They didn't even give face to the Crown Prince of Wuxia City. They directly made a move here. From the beginning to the end, when that priest Wang made a move, the Crown Prince of Wuxia City didn't say anything. Wuxia City. At this moment, a sinister voice came from the side. Everyone turned their heads when they heard this voice, and quickly looked towards the ground. Young Master Tian and young Master Di slowly stood up in a sorry state. Their faces were extremely gloomy, and their eyes were filled with a humiliating and crazy killing intent. Who is he? The two of them gritted their teeth, and asked word by word in a somewhat crazy manner. He is someone you can't defeat. Wu Qingqing looked at the two heaven's favorites in the sky and ground, and shook his head slowly. He continued, "This time, you have provoked a tough opponent. Tell us, who is he?" The two of them roared in a low voice and asked again. "According to the information I got, he doesn't have any background, but his strength can completely defeat you." Just as he said, You are no different from ants in front of him. Wu Qingqing didn't open his mouth to mock the two of them. After all, he had just been slapped in the face. We so-called geniuses are no different from trash in front of him. After pondering for a few seconds, Wu Qingqing also said with a slight sigh, how could there be such a monstrous existence in this world? What? However, when the crowd heard Wu Qingqing's evaluation, they were shocked. Wu Qingqing was the top heaven's pride in the entire vast region. How could he say that he was trash in front of Priest Wang? However, when they thought about how Priest Wang easily abused the heaven's pride and earth's pride, they fell silent again. Above the heaven's pride, Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan, who were standing beside Wu Qingqing, slowly spat out these words. They didn't know how to describe this kind of peerless monster. They could only describe him as above the heaven's pride. An existence above all the heaven's pride. Above the heaven's pride? Bullshit above the heaven's pride. If he dares to humiliate us today, we will definitely send him to the netherworld one day. All the peerless experts who haven't matured aren't experts. We want him to die. Young Master Tian's face was filled with malevolence as he roared in a low voice. We want him dead. Young Master D similarly clenched his fist in a malevolent manner. The two of them exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with killing intent as they walked out. The people from Lone Sect who had fallen to the ground hurriedly got up and followed. Bing Jinghuan's breathing was somewhat hurried as he stood there. He did not dare to directly leave like the two Heaven's Pride experts from Lone Sect. He could only stand there quietly with a gloomy face. The fellow who was pestering his junior sister was beyond his imagination. He's too cool, he's too cool. He Suiwen stood there and said excitedly, that brother Wang Xian is my idol. I'm just afraid that young Master Tian and young Master D will get the experts of the Solitaire sect to deal with brother Wang Xian. He Yuan asked worriedly. With young Master Wang's strength, unless it's an expert at level 8 of the see-through void tier, these two young masters of heaven and earth can't order such an expert. He Suiqing whispered beside He Yuan. That's true. With brother Wang Xian's strength, unless it's an expert at level 8 of the see-through void tier, such an expert wouldn't fight for the sake of two heaven's favorites. He Yuan smiled. Little Yuan, the crown prince of Wuqing City is here. At this moment Lin Yaoyao reminded him. He Yuan was slightly taken aback. When he saw Wuqing City walking towards him, he immediately went forward to welcome him. Forest Beastmaster, I've long heard of your great name. Wuqing City walked over. His eyes flickered as he sized up He Yuan, and extended his hand with a smile. Hello, Crown Prince of Wu Qingqing. Compared to you, I still have a lot to learn. He Yuan said with a hint of respect. Although both of them were equally famous, there was still a huge gap between their backgrounds and status. Haha, young master, he is too modest. I heard that you and young Master Wang Xian are very good friends. Wu Qingqing smiled and chatted with He Yuan. Although Wang Xian did not give him face today and slapped him in the face, he was not too narrow-minded. Moreover, with the two heaven's favorites from the Solitaire sect in front of them, the two of them were the ones who lost face. Now that they had formed a complete enmity with Wang Xian, he was happy to see that. When He Yuan saw Wu Qingqing asking about Wang Xian, his mind was full of thoughts. He had nothing to hide. Other than the matter of Wang Xian being a sky demon, he told the truth about everything else. Miss Ling Jian, you is really beautiful. No wonder young Master Wang Xian was able to travel hundreds of thousands of miles to the vast region to look for you. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan whispered to each other in a corner. They looked at Ling Jian, and walked over to greet her with a smile. Princess Qingyan, my name is Bing Jianyar. My name is not Ling Jianer. Ling Jian looked at them and said with a slight frown. What? You are not Ling Jianer? You are clearly. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan were slightly stunned. Is there anyone in the world who looks so similar? Ling Jian stood at the side with her brows tightly knitted. She thought carefully and did not recall Ling Jianer, Wang Xian, or the middle-aged man who said he was her father. But why would it be so easy for others to say it? Princess Qingyan, can you tell me about that Wang Xian? Ling Jian hesitated for a moment before asking. Wu Qingyan and Wu Qingyan looked at each other and nodded. Bing Jinghuan, who was standing at the side, had a drastic change in expression when he heard their conversation. He knew that Ling Jian was someone their ancestor met by accident. When he met her, her entire body was covered in injuries as she was fighting with others. After he rescued her, she immediately fainted. Only the word Jian was engraved on the sword in her hand. After she woke up, she had forgotten her own name. Her family and friends, the patriarch, had named her Bing Jian. Could it be? Ling Jian was really the person that the evildoer youth had looked for. This caused his expression to be extremely ugly. Ling Jian was the woman that he had decided on internally. The banquet did not stop because of what had just happened. However, throughout the entire banquet, everyone was talking about Priest Wang. They were talking about the two heavens favorites from the solipsistic sect. Some people guessed that young Master Tian and young Master Di would definitely take revenge, and the solipsistic sect would definitely take revenge as well. There were also people who said that Priest Wang would be killed by the solipsistic sect. So what if he was above a Heaven's Pride expert? As long as he wasn't a peerless expert, the so-called above a Heaven's Pride expert was no different from an ordinary person in front of an absolute expert. Chapter 1550. 1550 Souls of Darkness. What happened at the banquet of the Crown Prince of Wuxia City today would definitely cause a stir in the entire vast region. The name of Priest Wang would definitely spread across the entire vast region. A young man above a Heaven's Pride would rise up strongly. However, just as many people were discussing Wang Xian, he was currently staying on the roof of the courtyard where Ling Jian was staying. He was quietly comprehending the situation where light and darkness intersected. The trip to the banquet today made him feel extremely helpless. Ling Jian didn't like him at all. She might even hate him a little. This gave him a headache. He thought that he was a graceful and peerless handsome man. Why was it so difficult to deal with Ling Jian? Junior sister Jian, don't come into contact with Priest Wang in the future. That fellow has offended solipsistic sect. He will definitely become a dead man in the future. I can't let him drag you down. After about 2 hours, a voice came from the courtyard. Wang Xian leaned against the shadow on the roof and looked down. I know, senior brother. I'm going to cultivate. All right. Junior sister, rest early. Bing Jinghuan walked Ling Jian to the door and waved at him before leaving. Ling Jian opened the door and entered the room. If not for Jian forgetting her feelings now and you being her senior brother, I would have killed you long ago. Wang Xian, who was on the roof, heard Bing Jinghuan speak ill of him. His eyes revealed a hint of coldness as he muttered. He looked down and realized that Ling Jian was not cultivating immediately. Instead, she was sitting in front of the table with a statue in her hand. She was observing her quietly. Is it useful? Wang Xian revealed a hint of joy on his face. However, it didn't take long before Ling Jian sat cross-legged on the bed and continued to cultivate. Wang Xian scanned the room and continued to comprehend the blending of light and darkness. The next morning, he placed 2 statues at Ling Jian Yar's door as usual. He looked at them with a smile on his face. Creak. Not long after, the door opened and Ling Jian, who was dressed in golden clothes, walked out. When she saw the statue that appeared at her door every day, her eyes lit up and she picked it up. She looked at her statue, and then looked at the statue of the young man. After a moment of hesitation, she placed them all into her interspatial ring. In the next 2 days, the events that happened on the day the Crown Prince of Wuxia City held a banquet shook the entire ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Priest Wang and Wang Xian, these 2 names shocked everyone. Above the Heaven's Pride, there was an invincible youth. Even the Crown Prince of Wuxia City said that in front of him, he was trash. One could imagine how powerful and terrifying that Priest Wang would be. This incident, coupled with the fact that Wang Xian had cured nearly 100,000 people for free in the past, made him famous. He even gained quite a number of supporters. Some people even stated that they wanted to follow Priest Wang. Of course, there were also some people who thought that this Priest Wang was too arrogant. Only my sect would not let him off. The entire ruins of the Divine Kingdom was in an uproar. However, Wang Xian did not take all of this to heart. He turned into a peeping devil and followed around Ling Jianyar. When he had nothing to do, he would study the blending of light and darkness. This won't do. Currently, the power of the light and dark dragon bead is too weak. Once it enters the Tai Chi diagram formed by the heart of light and darkness, it will melt directly. It won't be able to move. I need to raise the level of the light and dark divine dragon bead. In a corner of Ling Jianyar's courtyard, Wang Xian looked at the location of his heart and pondered in his heart. He was prepared to transform the heart of darkness into the appearance of the Taiji diagram. He would use 2 intelligent light and dark divine dragons to operate the Taiji diagram to prevent the light and dark from being out of balance. Once he succeeded, he would complete the fusion of light and dark. However, he realized that the power of the light and dark dragon bead was not enough to affect the entire Taiji diagram. He needed to upgrade the level. To upgrade the level of the light and dark dragon pearls, I need a large number of light and dark pearls. Moreover, I need high-level ones. This is a little troublesome. Wang Xian frowned slightly. The light and dark pearls were originally considered very precious items. Currently, the light and dark dragon pearls in his hands belong to the 7th level of the see-through realm. The 7th level of the see-through realm was considered very high. In order to upgrade the level, he needed at least 20 to 30 light and dark pearls of the 7th level of the see-through realm. It was very difficult to obtain so many pearls of light and darkness. Perhaps only the existence of the 3 superpowers would be able to take out 20 to 30 pearls in one go. Princess Bing Jianer, the 9th prince, and the rest are waiting for you outside. At this moment, a voice came from the side. Wang Xian looked over, and a maid said to Ling Jianyar, "Are we leaving? I'll head over now." Ling Jianyar nodded. She sheathed the long sword in her hand and walked out. Is the black curtain garden about to open? Wang Xian followed behind her with his eyes flickering. The black curtain garden was an entrance to the medicinal garden in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. Experts above level 4 of the Profound Void tier were prohibited from entering, including those at level 4 of the Profound Void tier. There were large amounts of spirit herbs in the Black Curtain Garden. Even the lowest grade spirit herbs were at least at Transcendent Tier 8 or 9. There were even many spirit herbs at Profound Void tier. There were even spirit herbs at Profound Void tier 7 or 8. However, there were large amounts of darkness souls in the Black Curtain Garden. Especially those precious spirit herbs. They had darkness souls protecting them. If one wanted to pick the spirit herbs, they had to destroy the darkness souls protecting them. The Black Curtain Garden opened once every 100 years. Every time it opened, it was a grand event for the entire vast region. It was also a massacre. Wang Xian followed behind Ling Jian, and walked out. If Ling Jianer wanted to enter the Black Curtain Garden, he had to guard the surroundings. Although the Black Curtain Garden limited the realms of the people who entered, the extremely powerful soul of darkness, who had lived for thousands of years, and was a level 3 void interpretation expert, was also a dangerous place for Ling Jianyar. Junior sister Jianer, our Ice Heart Empire has sent more than 500 experts into the Black Curtain Garden this time. Among them, there are 200 insightful void realm experts. When the time comes, we will follow the strongest team and hope to return with a full load. Seeing Ling Jianer walking over, Bing Jinghuan went up to her with a smile and said to her, "We will listen to senior brother's arrangements." Ling Jianer nodded her head. "All right, let's go. We will head to the interior of the Kingdom of God's ruins first. Our people are already waiting there." Bing Jinghuan smiled and nodded his head. He followed the group of people and flew towards the interior of the Kingdom of God's ruins. Wang Xian followed behind and looked ahead. He looked at the gigantic statue and the dark area in front of him. This was Wang Xian's first time stepping into the Kingdom of God's ruins. In the sky, There were many people flying towards the ruins of the kingdom of God. Among them, there were hundreds of experts at the insightful void level. The opening of the Black Curtain Garden had affected all the forces in the entire vast region. Even third-rate forces, or even unrated forces, would send people over. This was because this was the ruins of the kingdom of God. It was an area left behind by a demigod who wanted to build his kingdom of God. Chapter 1551. 1551 in the soul of darkness. Vast, majestic, and vast. Flying towards the interior of the kingdom of God ruins, black trees that were 700 to 800 meters tall rose from the ground. Each tree was 10 meters thick. In front of them, there were many huge buildings that stood in the kingdom of God forest. Every building was emitting a dark luster, containing the weight of history, as well as the black radiance, giving people a faint pressure. Especially the huge human-shaped sculpture in front of them. A human-shaped sculpture that was over 1,000 meters tall, with a black crown on its head. It held a pitch-black staff in its hand, and its pair of eyes looked disdainfully at the front, as if it was overlooking the entire world. Everyone looked at the sculpture, giving people a feeling of insignificance. Just a sculpture gave people a great pressure. One could imagine how powerful the owner of the ruins of the kingdom of God was. What a strong dark energy! The deeper they flew in, the stronger the dark energy became. A huge building that stretched as far as the eye could see slowly appeared in their line of sight. Occasionally, terrifying roars could be heard from deep within. Some of the roars made Wang Xian's heart palpitate. As expected of the ruins of the kingdom of God, compared to this, the human demon graveyard is like a small river compared to the sea. Wang Xian looked at the world in front of him with a shocked expression. Even a level 3 dragon palace could not be compared to this place. The entire building in front of him was emitting a restrictive force. This force was not a formation, but a special type of confinement. If a demigod wants to become a god, he needs to build his own divine kingdom. The gods in the divine kingdom are invincible. They can establish their own order. Although this is just the ruins of the divine kingdom, there are still some remnants of divine power. Wang Xian looked ahead and thought to himself. Following behind Ling Jianer and the rest, they flew past the 1,000-meter-tall statue and entered a cluster of buildings that stretched as far as the eye could see. The ruins of the kingdom of God covered an area of 10,000 kilometers. However, the space of the ruins of the kingdom of God was more than 10,000 kilometers. That was because there was another space in the ruins of the kingdom of God. No one knew how big the entire ruins of the kingdom of God was. Those are the people from our Bingxin Empire. After flying for 4 hours, Bing Jinghuan's voice sounded in front of them. Wang Xian looked ahead and revealed a look of astonishment. Hundreds of thousands of people were gathered in front of them. In front of the hundreds of thousands of people, there was a huge black door. On the top of the huge black door were 3 ancient characters, Black Screen Garden. In front of the huge door of Black Screen Garden, 3 very eye-catching forces stood there. The Wuxia Empire, the solipsistic sect, and the Southern royal family. The 3 forces were at the front. Behind them were the He clan, a dark race that was shrouded in darkness, and a group of first-rate forces in the vast region. As for the people behind them, they were all dressed in black, and had their bodies shrouded in darkness. Junior sister Jian, we have to be careful when we enter the Black Screen Garden. Do you see the rear? Apart from the 3 superpowers and our first-rate factions, the people sent by the other factions are all dressed in black to hide their identities and factions. The reason they are doing this is to compete with US, and even the 3 super forces. When they encounter a high-level spiritual herb, they will not care about your background. Also, the demon beasts living in the forest of the divine kingdom control an entrance that we don't know about. They will be able to enter the Black Curtain Garden too. When they encounter the demon beasts, they will take action immediately. Bing Jinghuan brought Ling Jian and flew towards the location of the Bingxin Empire. She introduced them to her in a low voice. Ling Jianer nodded her head. Her gaze swept across the surroundings, and she was extremely solemn. Also, the Black Curtain Garden has been open for a month. You can enter and leave as you wish along the way. However, there will be people lying in ambush at the exit of the Black Curtain Garden. There are also experts at level 3 of the see-through realm lying in ambush here, waiting for an opportunity to strike. However, we don't have to worry. There will be experts from our Bingxin Empire here to receive us. Bing Jinghuan continued speaking to Ling Jianyar. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and hesitated for a moment. His body moved, and his entire body was covered by a black robe. A faint demonic aura emanated from his body. Now that the light and darkness had been balanced, Wang Xian would not be possessed as long as he did not suffer a huge blow. After entering the Black Screen Garden, he was prepared to use his dark identity to protect Ling Jianyar in the dark. Boom! 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 At this moment, a series of booming sounds suddenly rang out, causing the slightly silent surroundings to instantly boil with excitement. The door to the Black Screen Garden has opened. The door has opened. Haha, this time, I must obtain even more spiritual herbs. The land of treasures is about to open, haha. A commotion could be heard from the surroundings as excited voices rang out one after another. Many people who were covered in black robes had excited looks in their eyes. Haha, the gate of the Black Screen Garden has been opened. If anyone can get the Black Screen Heart Fruit, I'm willing to buy it for twice the price. At this moment, Wu Qingcheng's loud laughter could be heard. His figure moved and flew directly into the Black Screen Garden. Behind him were over 1,000 experts. Let's go in too. Let's charge in. Seeing the people from the Wuxia Empire enter, the rest of the people in the surroundings rushed in frantically. The people from the Bingxin Empire also flew in quickly. 2 experts at level 7 of the see-through realm were stationed here, waiting for their return. Wang Xian's figure moved and followed behind them. Buzz! After passing through the gate of the Black Curtain Garden, Wang Xian suddenly felt as though he had entered another dimension. Tens of thousands of people were gathered around him. In the Black Curtain Garden, those above level 3 of the see-through realm are not allowed to enter. Here, other than the creatures inside, I am an invincible existence. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile on his face. His gaze was locked onto Ling Jian, as he followed behind her like a ghost. Let's go there. After passing through the gate of the Black Screen Garden, it was as though there was a forest in front of them. It was extremely huge. Numerous trees rose into the sky. Those who entered immediately spread out and flew towards the surroundings. This was a land of treasures. First come, first served. 20 people to a small team. Spread out and act according to the plan. In the Bingxin Empire, Bing Jinghuan ordered everyone around him. The 500 people immediately split into 25 teams. Those who stayed beside Bing Jinghuan and Ling Jianyar were all powerhouses at the peak of the 3rd level of the see-through realm. Let's go deeper. Bing Jinghuan shouted loudly and quickly headed forward. A spiritual herb of the 7th level of transcendence. Wang Xian followed behind them. After flying for less than 1,000 meters, he saw a spiritual herb of the 7th level of transcendence in front of them. Bing Jinghuan and the rest obviously saw it too. However, they completely ignored it and continued flying forward. Spiritual herbs of level 7 extraordinaire can be seen everywhere. This Black Screen Garden is really not simple. Wang Xian was shocked when he saw that they did not stop. Chapter 1552. 1552 Below the Soul of Darkness. The Black Screen Garden was a corner of the medicinal garden, but even if it was just a corner, its area was still extremely terrifying. At least 100,000 people had entered, and they had only flown for half an hour. There were no longer any human figures around them, so one could imagine how vast the entire space was. Along the way, they encountered spiritual herbs below the profound void tier. But the people of the Iceheart dynasty did not pluck them. Their target was obviously the insightful void tier spiritual herbs. Let's fly for another half an hour. There are more insightful void tier spiritual herbs there. An elder next to Ling Jianer shouted loudly. Obviously, the Bingxin dynasty had made a lot of preparations for this black screen garden. They flew at a high speed again. There's a powerful fluctuation of the power of darkness ahead. It's an insightful void tier spiritual herb. Quick, quick. The people of the Ice Heart Empire suddenly sensed the huge fluctuation coming from ahead, and they looked excited. It's a dark lychee. There are more than 10 dark lychees on it. Haha. They flew over. Bing Jinghuan stared at the area ahead and laughed crazily. At this moment, they were surrounded by endless black trees. In front of them, a 10-meter-tall tree was rooted there. The tree was very small, and was very eye-catching in this space. However, it was emitting a strong dark energy. On the black trees here, there were more than 10 dark lychee hanging on them. They were emitting a life force and a pure dark energy. A spiritual fruit of the second level of the void interpretation realm. There are more than 10 of them on one tree. Isn't this black curtain garden too crazy? Wang Xian stared at the dark lychee spirit fruit in shock. No wonder so many people risked their lives to enter the black curtain garden after it was opened. All the factions had even gathered here. Be careful. The spirit tree at the second level of the void interpretation realm is definitely protected by the soul of darkness. At this moment, an elder from the Ice Heart Empire reminded him. He looked around carefully and was filled with vigilance. Over there. This is different from the soul of darkness that invaded Yin Haoyan's body. Wang Xian, who was hiding at the back, fixed his gaze on a tree 100 meters away from the dark lychee. His eyes were sparkling. It was a dark creature that was like a venomous snake. It didn't have a body of flesh and blood. It was completely formed from pure dark energy. Kill it over there. Be careful. Don't let it enter your body. Otherwise you will die. An elder also noticed the soul of darkness hidden in the tree and shouted immediately. Leave it to the two of us. The two middle-aged men moved and attacked the soul of darkness directly. The two of them were at level 3 of the void interpretation stage. It was easy for them to fight against a level 2 void interpretation stage soul of darkness. Under their attacks, the soul of darkness was instantly divided into more than 10 sections. Wang Xian realized that the soul of darkness was weakened after being divided into sections. After being divided into more than 10 sections, it completely turned into clusters of dark energy. This dark energy slowly dissipated in the surrounding air. Haha, good harvest. Let's go. Although it's just the beginning, we still have to hurry. Bing Jinghuan laughed out loud and kept all the dark lychees. The group continued to fly into the distance. To be able to obtain more than a dozen spiritual fruits of the second level of the void interpretation so easily, no wonder so many experts are attracted to this vast area. Wang Xian followed behind them. He stared at the dark lychee spiritual tree and moved his arm. However, just as he was about to put it into his storage spiritual bag, he realized that this dark lychee spiritual tree was trapped here by a special force. Even he couldn't take it away. No wonder they didn't take this spiritual tree away, Wang Xian thought to himself. Suddenly, his mind stirred as he looked at the soul of darkness that had been chopped into more than 10 pieces and was slowly dissipating. The soul of darkness is similar to the dragon bead. Could I allow the dragon bead of darkness to devour and upgrade it? Wang Xian had a thought. He opened his mouth, and a dragon bead of darkness flew out from his mouth. The dragon bead turned into a 1-meter-sized dark demon dragon and started to devour the dark energy that had not completely dissipated. It's really possible. The dark dragon bead can increase the level of the dragon bead by devouring the soul of darkness. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He was currently lacking items that could increase the level of the dragon bead. Now that the soul of darkness could increase the level of the dark dragon bead, he could not give up on this opportunity. The only drawback was that the dark dragon pearl would be upgraded. If the light dragon pearl was not upgraded, the balance between light and darkness would be broken again. However, there was nothing he could do about it. Now that he could hold on to his heart, it would not be a big problem even if the light and darkness were out of balance. He would just need to spend some time to adjust himself. Wang Xian's figure moved and flew into the sky. Looking at Ling Jianer in front of him, he frowned slightly. This is simply a land of treasures, spiritual herbs and the soul of darkness. I can't stay by Ling Jianyar's side all the time. Wang Xian frowned slightly. With a move of his arm, a statue appeared in his hand. The statue was Wang Xian himself. He opened his mouth, and the bright dragon pearl flew out from within, and attached itself to the statue. Buzz! A body that was emitting a faint light appeared in front of Wang Xian. The light body was exactly the same as him. It was as if it had a life of its own. Let the light dragon pearl protect Ling Jianyar. I will be able to sense danger if I encounter it. Even if I don't have to control it by myself, the light dragon pearl will be able to unleash the strength of a 6th level void interpretation. It is enough to protect Ling Jianer. Wang Xian transmitted a message to the light dragon pearl, instructing it to protect Ling Jian, in the dark. Following that, Wang Xian flew towards the front left. Next, I have to devour the soul of darkness crazily to obtain the spiritual herb. Wang Xian's eyes flashed with excitement. He opened his fiery dragon eyes and scanned his surroundings. My vision is greatly restricted. However, it's still easy for me to scan a radius of 5 kilometers. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and dashed forward. With his current strength, his speed was about 10 times faster than Ling Jianer and the rest. In a flash, he was already 4,000 to 5,000 meters away. There are spiritual herbs over there. It seems to be an earth attribute spiritual herb. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he stared in a certain direction and flew straight ahead. The return map flower of the 1st level of the void interpretation stage. A protection of the soul of darkness of the 1st level of the void interpretation stage. Wang Xian's figure flickered as the dark dragon pearl devoured the soul of darkness and took the spiritual herbs away. Let's keep going deeper. Wang Xian did not hesitate and flew forward quickly. A spiritual tree of the 2nd level of the void interpretation stage. A soul of darkness of the 2nd level of the void interpretation stage. Not long after, another spiritual tree appeared in Wang Xian's line of sight. His figure flickered, and in less than 10 seconds, the soul of darkness devoured, and the spiritual fruit was taken away. Haha, this is practically my own backyard. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with excitement as he continued flying forward. Along the way, he kept the spirit herbs and spirit trees in his bag. The dark dragon bead was also improving rapidly. Chapter 1553. 1553. The evolution of the 1553 Dragon Pearl was a huge harvest. After traveling for more than an hour, Wang Xian had only traveled more than 1,000 kilometers. In just over an hour, he had harvested more than 200 spiritual fruits and herbs. The soul of darkness had also devoured more than 40 spiritual fruits and herbs. Among them, there were also a few soul of darkness at the 3rd level of the void interpretation realm. The higher the level of the spiritual herbs, the higher the level of the soul of darkness that is guarding them. I can continue to go deeper. There were spiritual herbs of the 7th or 8th level of the void interpretation in the black screen garden. Naturally, Wang Xian could not let them go. He moved his body and flew forward again. Spiritual fruits of the 4th level of the void interpretation. 2 soul of darkness of the 3rd level of the void interpretation are guarding them. Spiritual fruits of the 5th level of the void interpretation. 10 soul of darkness of the 3rd level of the void interpretation are guarding them. Spiritual fruits of the 6th level of the void interpretation. 5 level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits are protecting it. Wang Xian swept through the spirit fruits along the way. He realized that the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits would not be protected by the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits. On the contrary, when he obtained a level 6 void interpretation spirit fruit, only 5 level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits would be protected by the level 4 void interpretation spirit fruits. This was both a good and a bad thing for Wang Xian. Fortunately, it was faster to obtain a high-level spirit fruit. The bad thing was that the speed of the Dark Dragon Pearl's advancement would be slower. However, this was something that Wang Xian had no choice but to do. He quickly harvested the spirit fruit. Perhaps, even the owner of the ruins of the Divine Kingdom would not have thought that there would be a terrifying existence who possessed the combat strength of level 7 of the Void Interpretation, even though he was only at level 3 of the Void Interpretation realm. Isn't this the black screen heart fruit? The fruit that Wuxia City is looking for. After a day, Wang Xian had already entered an extremely deep region. Looking at the black screen heart fruit in front of him, a smile appeared on his face. The black screen heart fruit was at the 7th level of the see-through realm, and there were 10 5th level see-through dark souls guarding it. He continued to sweep around. A day later, Wang Xian found a 8th level see-through spirit fruit. Golden Heart Spiritual Fruit. 2 dark souls of the 6th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the soul of darkness of the 6th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Even if all the participants gathered here, they wouldn't be able to get their hands on this Golden Heart Spiritual Fruit. He smiled and waved his arm. A demonic dragon flew towards the soul of darkness and devoured it. There should be half of the energy left. The Dark Dragon Pearl should be able to upgrade to the 8th level of the Void Interpretation stage. Furthermore, the resources needed for my upgrade should be almost done. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the Dark Dragon Pearl and the various spiritual herbs in his interspatial ring. The upgrade required 10 trillion dragon crystals. Wang Xian had obtained the interspatial ring after destroying the ancient demon city. The resources in the interspatial ring were sufficient to reach about 7 trillion dragon crystals. In addition, he had obtained various spiritual herbs here. The upgrade of his level was just around the corner. Wang Xian moved his body and continued to search. There were not many high-grade spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs. After wandering around for 4 to 5 days, Wang Xian only managed to obtain 10 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the see-through realm. Have we reached the destination? At this moment, Wang Xian looked ahead in astonishment. There was an incomparably huge pitch-black stone door standing in front of him. Black God Garden. Wang Xian muttered as he looked at the huge signboard above the stone door. That place was obviously another medicinal garden. It might have spiritual herbs of the 9th level of the Void Interpretation realm, half-step longevity realm, as well as spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits of the longevity realm. Around the stone door, there were trees standing side by side. The trees were tightly packed together, forming a city wall. Wang Xian walked forward and wanted to push it away. However, he was directly pushed away. When he flew to a height of 1,000 meters in the air, he felt a terrifying pressure that made it difficult for him to fly. I can't cross it. With my own strength, I can't cross it at all. After trying for more than 10 minutes, Wang Xian finally gave up on the idea of entering the Black God Garden and looked towards the back. I haven't gathered that direction yet. He moved his body and flew rapidly in another direction. He continued to sweep across. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. The demonic aura on the dark dragon bead became more and more intense. When it was fully unleashed, it could form a terrifying demonic dragon that was 100 meters long. It could unleash the terrifying strength of a peak level 7 see-through. With the power of the dark dragon bead, the current Wang Xian could easily kill 10 level 7 see-through experts by himself. Ling Jian is in danger. At this moment, Wang Xian suddenly felt a fluctuation coming from the light dragon pearl. He immediately closed his eyes. Buzz! Oh no, there are 30 dark souls. There are actually 30 of them. Junior sister Jian run. Through the light dragon pearl, Wang Xian saw 30 level 3 of the see-through realm dark souls break through the formation that surrounded Ling Jian and the rest. The 30 darkness souls were like ghosts as they attacked them. An old man let out a scream. His body slowly turned black as he opened his eyes wide and let out a painful cry. Run! Around them, the rest of the people from the Bingxin Empire shouted in fear. Clang! Ling Jian waved the metal longsword in her hand. It emitted an extremely bright golden glow as it swept towards the darkness souls behind her. She gritted her teeth with all her might as a look of horror appeared on her face. Her strength was the weakest among all of them. Now, the rest of them could not care about her at all. Roar, roar. Sensing the soul of darkness charging towards her from behind, a hint of fear flashed across her eyes. He actually provoked 30 soul of darkness. Wang Xian's gaze swept forward. When he saw that Ling Jian'er was in danger, his body moved. Buzz! 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 Ling Jian'er, who was running for her life, felt the impact of the soul of darkness on her shoulder. Instantly, her body trembled slightly. However, at this moment, a white figure flashed past her eyes. A special sound came from behind. This made her slightly stunned. She looked back with a stunned expression. It had disappeared. All the soul of darkness had disappeared. It was as if they did not exist. That white figure. The white figure appeared in her mind as her eyes flashed with a luster. That figure was somewhat familiar. What happened? What happened? Why did the dark souls disappear? What happened? Where are the dark souls? Haha, that's great, that's great. Junior sister Jian'er, are you alright? In just a few seconds, Bing Jinghuan and the others, who were running for their lives, sensed the disappearance of the darkness energy behind them. They turned around in shock, their faces filled with confusion. I'm fine. Ling Jian'er shook her head and scanned her surroundings. It's good that you're alright, it's good that you're alright. Why did the darkness soul suddenly disappear? Bing Jinghuan nodded his head and looked around in bewilderment. I don't know either. Ling Jian'er shook her head and looked at a statue in her interspatial ring. The statue in front of her slowly overlapped with the white shadow from before. Chapter 1554. 1554. With the evolution of the 1554 Dragon Pearl, he had gained a huge harvest. Let's continue. Wang Xian, who was thousands of kilometers away, sensed that Ling Jian'er was completely safe. He opened his eyes and looked ahead. His body moved and flew into the sky. He scanned his surroundings. There are spiritual herbs of the 4th level of the void. His body moved and flew over directly. Just as he arrived, he suddenly noticed more than 10 figures flying over. There are a total of 8 spirit grass of the 4th level of the void interpretation. 10 darkness souls of the 3rd level of the void interpretation can deal with them. There's another person? A group of people flew over. They were wearing black and white clothes. If they weren't wearing black robes, it meant that they were at least from a first-rate force. Based on their black and white attire, the 2 big words, I am the only one, could be used to determine the other party's identity. Solipsistic sect. 1 person. A dozen middle-aged men from Solipsistic sect glanced at Wang Xian and sized up their surroundings warily. The old man standing in the middle gestured to the 2 middle-aged men. The 2 of them nodded and flew directly towards Wang Xian. Wang Xian stood there and watched the 2 middle-aged men flying over quietly. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Kid, why aren't you running? Seeing Wang Xian standing there motionlessly, the 2 middle-aged men stood in front of him and behind him. A hint of surprise flashed across their eyes. Why are you running? Wang Xian looked at the 2 middle-aged men and asked faintly. That's true. You can't run away even if you want to when you meet our lone sect. Haha. A middle-aged man laughed out loud. Alright, let's get rid of this kid. Who knows? He might have some spiritual herbs in his interspatial ring. The old man in the middle said plainly to the 2 middle-aged men. Yes, senior brother. The 2 middle-aged men retracted their expressions and stared at Wang Xian arrogantly. I'll send you on your way. A middle-aged man moved and slashed the scimitar in his hand at Wang Xian instantly. Ants. Contempt appeared in Wang Xian's eyes. With a wave of his arm, a demonic dragon directly attacked the 2 middle-aged men. Buzz. In an instant, the demonic dragon swept past them. Before the 2 of them could even scream, they died instantly. Following that, the demonic dragon swept towards the rest of the people from the lone sect. Not good, that fellow is very strong. Set up a formation. The old man in the center saw that his two junior brothers had died instantly, and his face revealed a trace of shock. He hurriedly shouted, "Roar!" However, at this moment, the demon dragon lightly roared, and a violent roar charged towards them. This how? Everyone's eyes widened, and their faces revealed an expression of disbelief. Streams of blood flowed out from their ears, nose, mouth, and eyes. How was this possible? How could a third-level void interpretation expert be so strong? Their eyes were filled with disbelief as their vitality slowly dissipated. Roar! Roar! The demonic dragon swayed its huge body and headed straight for the soul of darkness. Just a little more. The level of the dark dragon bead is about to increase. Feeling the terrifying pressure from the demonic dragon, Wuxia revealed a smile on his face. He kept everyone's interspatial rings and left without looking. The more he flew towards the exit, the more people he encountered. Wuxia even encountered demonic beasts from the natural moat. When these humans and demonic beasts saw Wuxia alone, they attacked without hesitation. The result was obvious. The last 10. 2 days later, beside a small lake, Wuxia looked at the black lotus in the black lake, and the 10 darkness souls in the lake. His eyes were sparkling. Roar, roar! He waved his arm, and the demonic dragon directly devoured the darkness souls. The 10 darkness souls were completely unable to resist, and were directly devoured by the dark dragon bead. After swallowing the 10 darkness souls, the demonic aura on the demon dragon's body surged. Boom! Boom! A muffled sound was heard. The 100-meter-long demon dragon slowly shrank and turned into a primitive black dragon pearl. The black dragon pearl, which was like a black hole, slowly floated in the sky. Roar! At this moment, an extremely violent roar of the demon dragon came from the black dragon pearl, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire black screen garden. Crack! 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 Following that, the fist-sized dragon bead expanded in an instant. It was like a world-destroying demonic dragon that had emerged from a black hole. The body of the demonic dragon gradually expanded. In the end, it stopped at about 150 meters. Roar! Another earth-shattering roar was heard. Wuxia waved his arm, and the demonic dragon flew towards him. It shrank slowly and circled around him. It has evolved. A smile appeared on Wuxia's face. Not long ago, he was still worrying about how to evolve the dragon pearl. In the end, it had only been a few days, and it had already evolved. When the light dragon pearl evolves, it will be the time for darkness to merge. Wuxia thought to himself. What is that sound? Is it the roar of the soul of darkness? My God, this violent roar is definitely the roar of the soul of darkness at level 7, or even level 8 of the see-through realm. Didn't they say that there are no such powerful souls of darkness in the black screen garden? Hiss! Who provoked such a terrifying existence? Let's not go in that direction. At the same time, the roar of the evolution of the black dragon pearl caused everyone in the black curtain garden to look over in fear. Everyone's faces were filled with fear as they located the forbidden area in this direction. Now that my dragon pearl has entered my body, I can completely fight against a level 8 soul of darkness. I have already swept through most of the black curtain garden. Let's go to Jian'er. Wuxia held the dark dragon pearl and flew over quickly as he sensed the location of the light dragon pearl. There are so many people ahead. When Wuxia flew over and arrived at the location of the light dragon pearl, he waved his arm, and the light dragon pearl attached to the statue flew directly into his hand. After putting the statue away, he looked at a spot a kilometer ahead. A kilometer ahead, there was a deep valley with a depth of 200 meters. The entire area of the deep valley was about 5 kilometers in radius. At this moment, there were more than 1,000 people gathered on both sides of the deep valley. There were 3 first-rate forces, and Ling Jian'er, and the rest were beside the deep valley. At this moment, more than 1,000 people were staring at the deep valley with burning faces. Everyone was getting restless. Wuxia swept his gaze over and looked at the deep valley. A hint of surprise appeared on his face. There are so many spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits. There are at least 300 to 400 of them. Furthermore, there are 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in the middle. This is really strange. Wang Xian revealed a hint of surprise on his face. Most of the spiritual herbs in the deep valley were of the 1st and 2nd level of the void interpretation. However, there were 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in the middle of the valley. The spiritual herbs were emitting a golden light and were shaped like swords. This was the 8th rank of the profound void tier sword heartgrass. This spiritual herb was a rare treasure for metal elemental profound void tier experts. Everyone around them was looking at the sword heartgrass in the center of the valley with a burning gaze. Their breathing was a little hurried. Meeting a spiritual herb of the 8th rank of the profound void tier at this place was a huge opportunity for all of them. Especially since the strongest dark soul in the deep valley was only at rank 3 void interpretation. Moreover, there were only 100 of them. Chapter 1555. 1555. 1 out of 1,555 demons appeared. There are actually 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation in this area. This is a little strange. I only managed to harvest 20 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the void interpretation when I reached the deepest part of the valley. Wang Xian looked at the 3 resplendent sword heart herbs in the middle of the valley and was slightly surprised. His heart skipped a beat as he scanned the entire valley with his dragon eyes of fire and light. As expected, it's not that simple. Although I don't know why there are 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the see-through realm in this valley. It's basically impossible to obtain these 3 spiritual herbs. Wang Xian stared at a spot 3 meters away from the sword heart grass in the valley. There was a spiritual herb of the dark attribute with a leaf of about 1 meter. Underneath this leaf was a dark soul that looked like a ghost. Only 2 to 3 powerhouses at level 6 of the see-through realm would be able to destroy a level 6 of the see-through realm's dark soul. However, Wang Xian swept his gaze across his surroundings. This was not the deepest part of the area. There were more than 1,000 people gathered around. Among them, there were only about 100 people at level 3 of the see-through realm. The rest were all below level 3 of the see-through realm. There were even quite a number of transcendents. As long as this group of people dared to touch that sword heart grass, they would definitely die without a burial ground. Sword heart grass at the 8th level of the profound void tier. The 8th level of the profound void tier. Our luck is simply too good. An old man stared at the 3 ice heart grass with blazing eyes, his face revealing an excited expression. There are also 200 to 300 spirit grass at the profound void tier below. However, there are more than 100 darkness souls at the 3rd level of the profound void tier. A middle-aged man swept his gaze across the entire valley, his eyes flickering. Attack! I want to act as soon as possible. Otherwise, when those people from the major factions arrive, we won't have anything to do with them. Charge! Even if we can't obtain the insightful void tier 8th level sword heart herb, the remaining spirit herbs are still worth taking action. That's right. Let's all attack together. Whoever can obtain the sword heart herb will be the one with the most luck. At this moment, the leaders of several teams glanced at everyone around them and shouted loudly. Each team didn't dare to rashly charge into the Divine Valley alone. There were more than 100 rank 3 void interpretation realm dark souls. Only by attacking together could they have a chance to obtain the spirit grass in the deep valley. Alright, let's attack together. Everyone around them glanced at each other and nodded in agreement. They couldn't delay any longer. If those people from the super forces arrived, those 3 spirit herbs at the 8th level of the profound void tier would have nothing to do with them. Let's do it. An old man shouted loudly, and the more than 1,000 people in the surroundings all started to move. They immediately rushed into the Divine Valley, and everyone's gazes were all burning as they stared at the 3 sword heart herbs. Roar! 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 However, the moment they rushed into the Divine Valley, all the darkness souls moved. They attacked all the people who entered the Divine Valley. Because the darkness souls could enter a person's body, they had to be careful when dealing with them. Even if there were more than 1,000 people, they had to be careful when dealing with the more than 100 darkness souls. You don't have to take the other spirit herbs. You must definitely get those 3 sword heart herbs. Bing Jinghuan's eyes were blazing as he stared at the sword heart herbs in the middle, as he spoke to everyone in the Ice Heart Empire. Amongst the 1,000 or so people, they were considered to be a relatively strong team. There was a high chance that they would be able to obtain those 3 sword heart herbs. Ling Jian was also staring at the 3 sword heart herbs with a fiery expression. The metal attribute sword heart grass was of great help to her cultivation. In fact, if she obtained the 3 sword heart grass, she was confident that she would be able to achieve a breakthrough in her strength. Once she achieved a breakthrough, even the 2 heavens chosen of the so-called Supreme Sect, the Crown Prince of Wuxia City and the Southern Emperor Wudi, would not be a match for her. The Heartless Sword Principle, together with the Origin Gold, could allow her to easily fight against those above her level. Therefore, she was very eager to obtain the 3 sword heart grasses. However, just as they flew into the deep valley, one by one, the souls of darkness came up to them. Damn it, finish these damn things as soon as possible. Seeing that they were stopped, Bing Jinghuan growled in a low voice with an extremely embarrassed expression. 9th Prince will help you block them. Go and pick up those 3 sword heart grass. The surrounding elders shouted loudly with solemn expressions. All right. Bing Jinghuan moved and dodged the attack of the darkness souls. He directly flew toward the center. All the powerful teams in the surroundings also wanted to use this method to break through to the center. Shit, this group of darkness souls won't let anyone get close to the center. However, just as Bing Jinghuan flew over 100 meters, he immediately discovered that 2 darkness souls were attacking him. His expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly fled to the back. In the surrounding area, all the teams that wanted to break through had encountered this problem. Kill these guys first. An old man's furious roar came from not far away. Jian seems to want the 3 sword heart grass. Wang Xian, who had been hiding at the back, saw Ling Jian trying to break through to the center time and time again. However, he was blocked by the soul of darkness. He raised his eyebrows slightly. The sword heart grass is of the metal attribute. It fits Jian perfectly. In that case, I will help you. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. With a wave of his arm, the evolved dark dragon bead transformed into a demonic dragon. The fist-sized demonic dragon flashed and landed on Ling Jian body. Huh? What's going on? Ling Jian was fighting with the soul of darkness in front of her. Suddenly, she realized that the soul of darkness that was attacking her was retreating abruptly. It was as though it had encountered a terrifying natural enemy and did not dare to attack her. This caused Ling Jian to be stunned. However, her gaze shifted as she stared at the sword heart grass in the center. She hesitated for a moment before flying towards the sword heart grass. In the surroundings, some of the soul of darkness saw Ling Jian flying towards the center and revealed a sinister expression. However, they quickly revealed a terrified expression. When Ling Jian saw that there were no darkness souls to stop her, an excited expression appeared on her face as she directly flew towards the sword heart grass. Oh no, someone has broken through. Damn it, it's the people from the Ice Heart Empire. In the surroundings, when some people saw Ling Jian rushing into the deep valley, they revealed expressions of unwillingness and anger. Junior sister Jian Bing Jinghuan's face revealed an excited expression. Ling Jian face was also filled with joy as she directly grabbed towards the sword heart grass. Boom! However, at this instant, an aura of death completely enveloped it. Ling Jian face instantly turned pale as she hurriedly looked towards the bottom of a spirit grass leaf. A terrifying dark soul was staring at her coldly. She could feel that this dark soul was at least at the 6th level of the profound void tier. It's over. Chapter 1556. 1556 Heavenly Devil 2. Ling Jianyar's face turned pale. She had never thought that there would be such a terrifying darkness, soul hidden in the middle. That destructive and violent energy made her feel extremely small. A sense of despair appeared on her face. Wang. At this moment, the darkness soul moved and her body trembled. Boom! However, at this moment, a black shadow suddenly flashed before her eyes. Following that, the ferocious and terrifying darkness soul vanished. What's going on? Her eyes widened, filled with disbelief. Shadow, she muttered as she thought of the white figure from not too long ago. Could it be? Junior sister Jianer quickly plucked the sword heart grass away. Quick, a team is about to break through. At this moment, Bing Jinghuan's anxious voice came from behind. Ling Jian suddenly reacted and hurriedly reached out to grab the sword heart grass. She directly stored it into her interspatial ring. Not good. The sword heart grass has been taken away by that woman. When Ling Jian rushed towards the center, everyone around her had been paying attention to her. When they saw the sword heart grass being taken away, all of their faces were extremely ugly. The sword heart grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier was comparable to a pill of the 7th level of the profound void tier. Only the 3 superpowers had pills of this level. This was a huge treasure to second-rate forces, and even third-rate powers. A black veil heart fruit of the 7th level of the profound void tier was already so important to the crown prince of Wuxia City, let alone a spirit grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier. Junior sister Jianer, let's leave immediately. Bing Jinghuan saw Ling Jianer flying over, and his face revealed an excited expression as he shouted loudly. As long as they obtained these 3 sword heart grasses, it would be worth it to enter the Black Curtain Garden. Moreover, their acquisition of the sword heart grasses had been seen by the surrounding thousands of people. They could not stay in the Black Curtain Garden anymore. Otherwise, they would definitely be attacked by others. All right. Ling Jianer nodded her head heavily and did not stop as she fled towards the exit. We are also preparing to retreat. Bing Jinghuan shouted at his subordinates and prepared to escape from the attacks of the darkness souls. How can it be so easy to leave? A wind attribute cultivator suddenly moved and 3 darkness souls chased after him. His figure flickered, and he led the darkness souls to Bing Jinghuan and the others on their way out. Damn fellow, you dare to provoke our Bingxin dynasty? I think you want to die. Bing Jinghuan and the others roared in anger when they saw that someone was deliberately trying to trip them up. Haha, so what if it's the Bingxin dynasty? The old man in black robes, who was covered in black robes, laughed loudly without any fear. These first-rate forces wore black robes in order to compete with the first-rate forces, and even the 3 super forces for the spirit herbs. This way, they wouldn't be afraid of being retaliated against. Junior sister Jianer, you should leave first. Once you leave the Black Screen Garden, there will be experts from our Ice Heart Empire protecting you. You want to snatch the treasures from our Ice Heart Empire? Dream on. A cold voice sounded out from Bing Jinghuan's mouth. Ling Jianer nodded his head and did not dare to hesitate as he flew towards the exit. All of you, go chase after her and snatch the sword heart grass from her hands. We cannot let her leave. As long as we obtain the 3 sword heart grass, everything will be worth it. At the surrounding area, a few of the team leaders gritted their teeth and chased after Ling Jianyar. Ah! In an instant, when some people gave up on the battle with the darkness soul, the battle that was originally evenly matched was immediately destroyed by the darkness soul. A miserable shriek sounded out. Damn it, retreat. There are some experts chasing after the Ice Heart Dynasty's women. We aren't a match for these darkness souls. Some teams that weren't confident of obtaining the sword heart grass only wanted to obtain some low-grade spirit herbs. Seeing this situation, their expressions became extremely ugly. They hurriedly retreated out of the deep valley, their expressions changing as they looked towards the place where Ling Jianyar had escaped to. Damn it, let's go, we'll also fish in troubled waters. A few of the teams said with ugly expressions, directly chasing after Ling Jianyar. Since they could not obtain the low-grade spirit herbs, they would see if they could obtain the three-sword heart grass. In an instant, more than 200 people chased after Ling Jianyar. This made the people from the Bingxin Empire look extremely embarrassed. Run! Ling Jianyar felt the people chasing after her, and her expression was a little embarrassed. This group of people would definitely not let go of her Bingxin Empire's background for the sake of the three-sword heart herbs. These guys! Wang Xian followed behind Ling Jianyar and swept his gaze across the more than 200 people chasing after them. However, with their speed, it would be difficult for them to catch up to Ling Jianyar. Wang Xian didn't make a move either. He wouldn't make a move unless Ling Jianyar was in danger. This woman is so fast. We can't catch up to her at all. We'll reach the exit in an hour at most. We won't be able to catch up to her. Some of them looked embarrassed when they saw Ling Jianyar's speed. Some teams immediately stopped. Once Ling Jianyar charged out, there would be experts from the Bingxin Empire protecting them. If they charged out, they would only be killed by the experts from the Bingxin Empire. However, to the surprise of many people, 3 teams did not stop. They continued to lock onto Ling Jianyar's figure with excitement in their eyes. 2 days ago, a divine tree appeared at the Divine Kingdom's ruins, the Blackwater Divine Lake. Experts from the superpowers and a few first-rate forces have rushed over. There might not be experts from the Bingxin Empire at the entrance. These 3 teams had only entered the Black Screen Garden for a day, so they had some understanding of the situation outside. With the appearance of the divine tree in the Blackwater God Lake, a group of powerful forces immediately rushed over. At this moment, there might not be any experts from the Iceheart Empire at the entrance. Hence, they did not give up. The 3 teams followed closely behind Ling Jianyar, who was 2,000 meters behind her. Ling Jianyar felt the speed behind her and heaved a sigh of relief. The exit was right in front of her. She could protect the three-sword heart grass. Wang Xian followed behind her. Buzz! Ling Jianyar flew out with a smile on her face. She immediately looked towards the direction of the Bingxin Empire. Damn it! The Blackwater God Lake has been completely sealed off by the 3 super forces and a group of first-rate forces. We can't enter at all. How overbearing! The people of the Bingxin dynasty are indeed powerful. They killed 2 experts of the 7th level of the Profound Void stage on the spot. It's our fault for being weak. Hee. Right then voices suddenly came from the front. The voices came from the people in black robes. When she looked at the Bingxin dynasty, she found that there were no experts of the Bingxin dynasty there. Even the experts from the superpowers and the other first-rate powers weren't there. This caused Ling Jianyar to be slightly startled, and she couldn't help but feel alarmed and flustered. Chapter 1557. 1557 1557 Skyfiends appear 3. At the front of the Black Curtain Gardens gate, a group of powerful people had already left. There were only 4,000 to 5,000 black-robed people in front of them. They were all factions below first-rate forces. Don't underestimate these people. The entire vast region was incomparably vast. There were 3 super forces and 8 first-rate forces. These 11 forces only occupied 1/5 of the vast region. The other 4/5 of the region also had hidden dragons and crouching tigers. This was especially true near the God Nation ruins. There were many mysterious organizations. Many organizations existed to occupy the entire God Nation ruins. Some hidden organizations might not be weaker than some first-rate forces. Of course, there was still a huge gap between them and the 3 super forces. Ling Jianyar was floating at the entrance by herself. She was very eye-catching. She scanned the area in front of her warily and flew towards the outside without saying a word. Wang Xian, who was hiding in the air, also glanced at the positions of the first-rate super forces that had left curiously. Blackwater Divine Lake? Tree of God? It seems that all these superpowers have gone there. Perhaps only in the last few days will there be experts coming to protect their disciples. Wang Xian thought to himself. The Black Curtain Garden had been in operation for a month. It had only been half a month since then. The people from the first-rate and superpowers would basically stay in the Black Curtain Garden for about a month. If Ling Jianair hadn't suddenly obtained 3-sword heart grass at the 8th level of the Profound Void tier, she wouldn't have come out earlier. Buzz buzz buzz. Just as Ling Jianair was about to leave this place, another 30 to 40 people appeared at the entrance of the Black Curtain Garden. Their eyes scanned the surroundings and immediately locked onto Ling Jian, who was in the air. Master, capture that woman from the Bingxin Empire. A middle-aged man dressed in a black robe immediately pointed at Ling Jian, and shouted loudly. Ha! Everyone was attracted to the spot in front of them. More than a dozen of them flew over with a hint of doubt on their faces. What's the situation? Speak. When Ling Jian heard the voice from behind, her expression changed drastically. She immediately used all her speed and fled forward. Wang Xian frowned slightly. He had a bad premonition. Master, we can't let her escape. She has a treasure in her hands. The middle-aged man said anxiously. However, he didn't dare to say that the other party had 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the see-through void. Once he said it out loud, a group of powerhouses in front would swarm forward. Elders, stop her. She has obtained a few top-grade spiritual herbs in the Black Screen Garden. Another team hurriedly shouted at their elders. Top-grade spirit herbs. Everyone was slightly shocked and immediately looked towards Ling Jianyar's figure. The people from the Bingxin Empire. TSK, their experts aren't here. I won't be polite anymore. A sinister voice suddenly sounded out. Following that, a figure rushed out and chased after Ling Jianer. Go, the Icy Heart Empire is domineering. Since their disciples have spiritual herbs, we will accept them with a smile. Haha. In less than a second, 3 more figures flew over. TSK, what a beautiful young lady. Boom boom boom. Another dozen figures directly chased after Ling Jianer. One figure after another, several of them emitting terrifying demonic qi. 7th level void interpretation. A terrifying 7th level void interpretation expert. Damn it, those are our things. The faces of the elders of the 2 teams revealed a cold expression, and with a gloomy expression, they directly chased after them. Top-grade spiritual herbs. The top-grade spiritual herbs of the Black Screen Garden were 8th level void interpretation. A few 8th level void interpretation spiritual herbs, even if they were 7th level void interpretation experts, were extremely tempted. Spiritual herbs of this level were of great use to them, especially for those experts who didn't have much lifespan and were desperately seeking to break through. The 7th level of the Profound Void tier medicinal pill was a treasure of a higher level. In an instant, more than 70 figures chased after Ling Jianer. Among them, more than 20 figures were emitting a majestic energy from their bodies. It was extremely terrifying. Ling Jianyar's speed was very fast, and she managed to escape about a minute ahead of time. However, the people who were chasing after her were a group of experts who could be considered strong even in the vast continent. When Wang Xian saw this scene, he cursed in his heart, and his expression turned slightly gloomy. If he had known this would happen, he would have killed all the people who were chasing after Ling Jianer. If you want to escape, come over here. At this moment, an elder at the front waved his arm, and a devil whip shot towards Ling Jianyar. This is the prey our disciple has discovered. Everyone, you have crossed the line. An elder waved his arm, and a golden sword slashed towards the devil whip. What prey? Whoever catches it will get it. The old man who waved the devil whip saw that his attack had been cut off, and his face was cold with a trace of killing intent. I only want 1 top-grade spirit herb. A few figures from behind rushed over and grabbed towards Ling Jianer. Pung pung pung. However, their attacks were immediately blocked. Young lady in front, stop right now. With a shout, Ling Jianyar's expression changed drastically, and she hurriedly stopped. Seniors, I am willing to give all of the sword heart grass that I have obtained to all of you. Ling Jianyar's expression was filled with fear, as she felt the terrifying attacks behind her. She hurriedly took out the sword heart grass and shouted, "Sword heart grass, a sword heart grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier. And there are 3 of them." When the black-robed men saw the 3 sword heart grass in Ling Jianyar's hand, their eyes shone with a fiery light. A spiritual grass of the 8th level of the profound void tier was a treasure. Ling Jian glanced at the black-robed men around her in fear. "Seniors, please spare my life for the sake of the Ice Heart dynasty." She had no choice but to bring up the Ice Heart dynasty, hoping that the other party would be more cautious. "If you don't say that you're from the Bingxin dynasty, I might let you off. Now I'm going to crush you." However, just as Ling Jianyar finished speaking, an aged voice sounded out, and a terrifying killing intent directly charged towards her. This caused her face to instantly turn pale, and her gaze turned towards the old man in front of her, who only had a pair of ice-cold eyes. He has a grudge with the Icy Heart Empire. Ling Jianyar's body trembled slightly as she looked at the group of terrifying experts surrounding her like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. It's not easy to divide the 3 spiritual herbs of the 8th level of the profound void tier. Treasures will belong to those who have the strength to snatch them. That old man swept his gaze across the surrounding people as he spoke in a sinister tone. Just as his voice faded, a pair of shriveled arms extended out from his black robe. The shriveled arms were like demonic claws. The moment they reached Ling Jianyar's side, the terrifying demonic chi contained within would be able to tear them apart. He did not care about Ling Jianyar's life at all. Ling Jian looked at this attack and closed her eyes in despair. A figure suddenly appeared in her mind. Would that person still save her? Chapter 1558. 1558 Heavenly Demon Manifestation 4. Sword Heart Grass, this old man wants one. HMPH, that belongs to us. In the sky above the Divine Kingdom ruins, Ling Jian was surrounded when she ran to a spot not far from the huge sculpture. When an elder at the 7th level of the Insight Void tier attacked, he closed his eyes in despair. The surrounding experts did not want to be outdone and grabbed towards Ling Jianyar's body. That terrifying energy was able to instantly tear her apart. At least more than 20 Insightful Void Tier 7 experts took action. 3 Insightful Void Tier 8 Sword Heartgrass was not worth so many experts fighting for, but no one wanted to give up. Whoever could obtain a Sword Heartgrass in an instant. Basically, the Sword Heartgrass belonged to the person. In despair, Ling Jian stood in the air, trembling, her eyes tightly shut. Boom! When numerous terrifying attacks came towards her, a violent collision sounded in front of her. She could feel the terrifying energy coming from in front of her being completely blocked. What? Damn it, who is it? Numerous exclamations came from the surroundings, and Ling Jian was slightly stunned. Her eyelashes trembled as she opened her eyes, and a huge door of darkness appeared in front of her. In the surroundings, more than 20 Profound Void Tier 7 experts saw that the door of darkness was blocking their attacks, and their expressions were ice-cold as they swept their surroundings. Behind the group of Profound Void Tier experts, there were also 50 to 60 Profound Void Tier 5 and 6 experts. They were also looking around in shock. So many people, so many experts. Bullying a little girl, isn't that bad? At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice. A figure covered in darkness was walking towards them, as if he was walking in the void. His face could not be seen clearly. All that could be seen was a pair of indifferent eyes. Meddling in other people's business. The old man who took the lead narrowed his eyes and sized up Wang Xian coldly. The rest of the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm stared at Wang Xian and questioned him silently. You guys are so bored. Seeing that you guys want to kill a weak girl. You guys want to meddle in other people's business. The one who came was naturally Wang Xian. Seeing that the group of people not only wanted to snatch the sword Heartgrass from Ling Jian, they also wanted to kill her. This made Wang Xian a little angry. Anyone who wanted to touch Ling Jian would have to go through him. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a cold expression as he swept his gaze across everyone around him. Kiki, why are you meddling in other people's business? I have killed many people in the past. Why haven't I met you meddling in other people's business? An old man laughed out loud and stared at Wang Xian mockingly as he spoke in a cold tone. In the past, maybe I have been killing people too. Wang Xian looked at the old man indifferently. Why? Do you want to keep the 3-sword heart grasses for yourself? An old man stared at Wang Xian and asked faintly. Yes, I want to keep them for myself as well. Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Ling Jian'er, who was at the side, looked at Wang Xian blankly with her brows knitted tightly. A dark figure? A bright figure? Haha, how arrogant. You are really arrogant to the extreme. You actually want to keep the 3-sword heart grasses for yourself from us. How arrogant. A loud laughter came from the mouth of an old man in a black robe. His voice spread across a radius of dozens of kilometers. This caused the people who did not come to the entrance of the black screen garden to be slightly shocked. They looked over. Some curious people immediately flew over and swept their gaze over. What happened? Everyone looked over curiously through the black robe. Don't mess with me. Wang Xian swept his gaze across all of them and said faintly. Kiki, don't mess with you? Who do you think you are? Let's kill this guy first. After that, whoever gets the sword heart grass will get it. What do you think? The old man who took the lead slowly clenched his fist, and a human-headed staff appeared in his hand. It's been a long time since I've met such an arrogant fellow. 1 move per person. Finish him off immediately. Don't waste time, lest we alarm the Bingxin Empire. A weapon appeared in the hands of more than 20 black-robed powerhouses, as they stared at Wang Xian, and said calmly. Based on their investigation, the opponent had the strength of a 7th-level see-through void stage at most. One 7th-level see-through void stage wanted to fight against more than 20 of them? This was simply courting death. One person with 1 move could directly kill him. Haha, it's been a long time since I had a satisfying battle. I wonder how strong I am now. Wang Xian's gaze swept across more than 27th-level see-through realm experts. There was no fear on his face as he laughed maniacally. A demonic dragon slowly gathered around him and revolved around him. A reckless thing kill. All the experts at level 7 of the see-through void tier stared at Wang Xian with murderous intent. To dare to provoke all of them by himself was an insult to them. Those who insulted others kill. Kill. Around him, more than 20 experts at level 7 of the see-through void tier waved their weapons and unleashed terrifying attacks at Wang Xian. Haha, let's fight. Wang Xian threw his head back and let out a loud roar. Instantly, the demonic aura on his body surged and surged towards the surroundings. Bang! A stream of demonic aura landed on Ling Jianyar's body and sent her over 3,000 meters away. Ling Jianyar widened her eyes and fixed her gaze on Wang Xian's position. However, at this moment, the surging demonic aura had completely covered his body. One after another, terrifying attacks landed on Wang Xian's position. I hope nothing bad will happen. Ling Jianyar clenched her fists tightly as she stared ahead worriedly. Roar! Roar! At this moment, when the terrifying attacks landed on the demonic energy, a roar was heard from the center of the demonic energy. The roar was filled with brutality and violence. A majestic and terrifying dragon had broke through the demonic aura directly. His dragon eyes swept across all the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm. The attacks landed on his dragon scales without leaving any trace. All of you must die. A dark glow shot out from Wang Xian's cold dragon eyes. He swayed his 100-meter-long body and attacked them directly. What? He is a demonic beast? What a terrifying pressure. The expressions of the more than 20 experts at level 7 of the see-through realm changed slightly when they saw that the figure had suddenly transformed into a terrifying creature that was more than 100 meters long. Dragon Kingdom in the palm. Wang Xian did not hesitate at all. The Dragon Kingdom in the palm of his Dharma idol attacked them directly. The pitch-black dragon claws were covered with densely packed dragon scales. The entire dragon claw transformed into a radius of 2 kilometers and attacked the group of experts at level 7 of the see-through realm. With the support of the Black Dragon Pearl of the Profound Void Tier 8, not to mention the 20 or so experts of the same level, even an expert of the Profound Void Tier 8 could fight. Damn it, don't hold back, attack all of you, kill this beast. The 20 or so experts of the Profound Void Tier 7 looked at the terrifying dragon claw, their faces filled with shock as they roared out. Chapter 1559. 1559 Heavenly Demons appeared 5. Boom, boom, boom. Next to the gigantic statue in the ruins of the Divine Kingdom, terrifying sounds of collisions were heard within a radius of a few hundred kilometers. More than 20 experts at the 7th level of the see-through realm attacked the gigantic dragon claws. The powerful attacks landed on the dragon claws, but did not cause much damage. Buzz! At this moment, Wuxia controlled the gigantic dragon claws and charged at the level 7 insightful void martial artists. Damn, what sturdy claws! What kind of supernatural ability is this? The face of an elder in a black robe at level 7 insightful void martial artist turned ashen. They thought that it would be easy to kill a person of the same level, with more than 20 people attacking him. However, they had not expected that the opponent's attack would be so terrifying. Oh my god, what kind of monster is this? It's actually fighting with more than 20 experts of the 7th level of the Profound Void tier. This creature is so terrifying. That demon claw is simply too abnormal. In the surroundings, everyone saw the battle erupting here, especially the dragon claw that was 2 kilometers in size. It was exceptionally eye-catching in the entire sky. Everyone had shocked expressions on their faces. A creature that could fight against more than 27th level void interpretation creatures? This must be in existence at the 8th level of the void interpretation realm. Aspect Demon Eye. Aspect Heaven's Light. Aspect Heaven's Punishment. Aspect Thunder God's Descent. When they saw Wuxia's dragon claw attacking them once again, the terrifying demonic aura attacked their bodies. All the experts at level 7 of the see-through realm had extremely grave expressions. They knew that they had encountered a tough opponent this time. Kill. He hasn't reached level 8 of the see-through realm. Kill him. An angry roar sounded. One by one, the black-robed elders cast their Dharma idol. Each Dharma idol was like a heaven and earth phenomenon. In the sky, a blood-red demon eye was directly in the sky. It was like a terrifying demon that was peering into the human world. A beam of heavenly light swept towards the dragon claw from a height of 10,000 meters. A giant that was a few thousand meters in size held a long sword in his hand and slashed towards the dragon claw. There were also streaks of azure blue heavenly lightning that wreaked havoc within a radius of a few thousand meters. Streaks of attacks were directed towards Wuxia. Boom, explode! Wuxia raised his dragon claw and attacked all the Dharma idols in the sky. He used the Dragon Kingdom in his palm to fight against more than 20 powerful Dharma idols. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, destructive energy rolled out in a radius of 10 kilometers. The terrifying energy fluctuation impacted a radius of 20 kilometers. This is bad. Seeing the terrifying energy impact the surroundings, the faces of the powerhouses at the 7th level of the see-through realm turned red. Streams of energy spread out around them, blocking the impact of the various energies. Explode! Wuxia's dragon claw attacked an area of 2 kilometers below. The boundless dark energy swept downwards. Not good escape. More than 20 experts of the 7th level of the see-through realm looked at the dragon claw that covered the sky and earth, fleeing in fear. My god! It's been a long time since such a terrifying battle broke out. Over 20 Profound Void Tier 7 experts ganging up on one person, and in the end, they were completely suppressed. The earth-shattering battle caused everyone in the kingdom ruins to turn their gazes over. In front of a huge black lake a few hundred kilometers away, many powerful factions and experts were staring at the center of the lake with fervent gazes. However, When the terrifying sounds of battle came from afar, everyone hurriedly looked in that direction. What's the situation? In that direction, there's at least a group of 7th level profound void tier experts fighting. What's that thing? What a huge claw. Is that a Dharma idol? What a terrifying demon claw. All the experts gathered here were all top-tier experts in the vast region. When they looked into the distance, they could vaguely see a huge demonic claw. Send someone over to check if there are any treasures. Otherwise, why would such a terrifying battle break out? The eyes of the experts from the 3 superpowers flashed as they sent someone over to check. Some first-rate forces also sent their experts over immediately. Aha! At this moment, under Wang Xian's dragon claws, 4 desperate screams were heard. The huge dragon claws crushed the 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists who couldn't escape in time. The terrifying destructive power of darkness directly killed them. 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists died. What? The deaths of the 4 level 7 insightful void martial artists caused the other 20 level 7 insightful void martial artists to show an embarrassed expression. Half of them were swept away by the dark energy. The terrifying demonic aura caused their faces to turn pale. Too strong, simply too strong. We are actually not his match. An elder gulped and stared at the gigantic dragon claw with fear. Run! Some of the insightful void tier 7 powerhouses revealed a look of fear. They turned around and fled into the distance. You want to escape? I've said it, all of you must die. Wang Xian moved his dragon claws. Within the dragon claws, a 2-meter-thick devil chain slithered around, making an ear-piercing sound. Devil scale chain. Wang Xian swept the dragon claws in his hand and directly attacked the level 7 insightful void martial artist. How can he be so strong? The level 7 insightful void martial artist looked at the devil scale chain that appeared in front of him in an instant. His expression was extremely ugly. He raised the large saber in his hand and slashed heavily at the devil scale chain. Voila la! However, the devil scale chain rolled and swept towards his body. The devil scale chain that was a few thousand meters long and a meter thick, carrying the power of the divine dragon, swept towards his body. Poo poo poo. Cough cough cough. The terrifying power caused the devil scale chain to spit out large mouthfuls of blood, mixed with internal organs. The 5th insightful void tier 7 expert had fallen. Kill. I don't believe that I can't kill him. At this time, don't hold back. One of the insightful void tier 7 experts saw that the escaping expert had been killed, and his expression was extremely unsightly. He roared loudly, and his body emitted beams of dazzling light. The descent of the radiant emperor. He roared. The other insightful void tier 7 experts also revealed their bloodlust, and their eyes revealed a crazed killing intent. Aspect eclipse moon. Aspect thunder disk. Since the other party didn't want them to leave, they would kill them. Every single one of them had fought their way out from their bones. The aspect that was even stronger than before attacked Wang Xian. Dragon Head World. Wang Xian looked at the aspect that covered an area of 10 kilometers and was attacking him. His dragon eyes were filled with blood. It raised its head, and a gigantic dragon head appeared. Drown it, darkness. He opened the gigantic dragon head, and the terrifying darkness attacked all the Dharma idols. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.